Welcome to this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters podcast. We chart the cinematic legacy of the classic monsters. I'm John Campbell. With me, as always, Brendan Jones.
John.
Yep. A heavy sigh is as good a review as we need. I think we're done here.
Yeah, we're done. I will say this. I'm
Yes.
going to say this before we even get there.
Okay.
I remember back in the day, in the 80s, there would be lots of PSA commercials and 90s commercials.
Yes.
Where you'd have McGruff the crime dog.
Oh, I remember McGruff, sure.
And mostly he's animated.
Yes.
But there were a few where it was like a person in a costume, a Gruff costume.
McGruff came to my school.
Yeah.
A guy in a McGruff costume came to my school when I was a kid.
There you go. And that representation is a better werewolf than anything we see in this movie.
Yes. Here's the thing.
A guy in a McGruff the crime dog outfit.
I was more scared of that, whatever police volunteer in the McGruff crime costume than I was of anything in 1997's An American Werewolf in Paris.
I mean, and this, by the way, I will say this too before we even launch into it. The look of the werewolves, which is terrible.
Yes.
Is the least of this movie's problems.
Oh,
so I'm jumping on
the
easy one right at the top.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's it. I see so many people talking about, the CGI. And yes, terrible. This is one of those movies there is no fix here. There is no, if only this, then if you change this. This is just a compounding of awful factors to make. I gotta say, I think when we talk about the bottom of the barrel movies on this show, There are your Howling sequels, your Vampire Journals, things like that. This is bottom of the barrel studio polish, though. You know what I mean? Like, it does have studio money, but this is as bad as a legitimate film, because I don't think, of course, it's not as bad as something like Howling 6, just because resources are involved. But considering the resources, in some ways, this actually is worse, because at least those you can go, well, they had no money and didn't know what they were doing. Here's a movie where they had a lot of money and did apparently know what they were doing and still made a travesty.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question right here at the top also.
Yes.
Do you happen to know the budget of this film?
I sure do.
What was the budget?
$25 million.
Okay.
And that's
actually, that does make sense. This is low end.
But 97, that's like mid.
That is mid for 97.
Lower mid, but yeah, that's not nothing then.
But here's the thing.
Yes.
Would they have been better off? And I'm being completely serious.
Yes.
Putting that money in a pile and setting it on fire.
Yes.
Because here's the thing.
It would have had the same result.
Yeah, at the very least, they would have been warm. Because they got nothing from this. They didn't even get warned.
Here's the thing, and we talked a little bit.
No one gets out of this movie alive, by the way. No one gets out of this movie alive. This has got some, at least three, not maybe only three talented people in it, and none of them get out unscathed.
Agreed on that. And in fact, some of them are, at least one of them is actively bad, and it's a shame because Tom Everett Scott is a good actor, but he's actually bad. And I think Julie Delpy and Julie Bowen, I think the Julies of this movie, don't come out unscathed, but aren't as bad in their performances. I think Tom Everett Scott is
actually, I don't agree.
Oh,
I actually found, Tom Everett Scott, like I said, they're all
good actors. They're all to blame, but it's a situation where I know all three of these people are good actors, so I will say
Julie Bowen is the most embarrassed and embarrassing to watch in this movie.
Oh, I agree with that.
As much as I love me some Julie Bowen, her performance in this is, I think, far worse than the other two.
I think I think one of Julie Delpy's problems actually in this is she's trying too hard. Like, she's trying to be.
She thinks it's possibly going to be a legit movie.
I know, that's sort of the thing.
No one had the courage to tell her, "Oh no, this is absolute shit."
Well, and it's indicative of the whole movie. Just all these performances mixed together, that this movie has no idea what the tone is, what it wants to say, how what the genre is even. My God, it's I mean, this is horrible. This is truly a terrible movie. And we talked about this last week. I remember renting this when it came out. This was a grocery store rental. Kids, this isn't even the days of Blockbuster. This is the days, I mean, Blockbuster existed, but these are the days when your local grocery store had tapes to rent.
John, you cannot play the this was the day of card with me.
I know.
But I will say, actually, before there were video stores, it was usually the grocery store. Yeah. So before there were even Blockbusters, when you first started renting videos, there were not specific stores for that. It would be like an addendum to your drugstore or grocery store, and those were where you'd get the membership card. And if you fucked that video up or you had to replace it, it was like $99.
Yeah, because that's the. I mean, kids
because they did not print or they didn't make crazy amounts of these.
No,
things.
The whole thing back then was they made a limited amount of movies, sold them for a lot of money, and
the grocery stores owned those copies, and so those were their only copies. And yeah, they were basically like making their money off the rentals. And if it broke, you owed that store $100.
Well, and I remember that would be the thing. Do you remember there was also a rental period? This is when I was a kid, around this time. Folks, we're just talking about anything that's not this movie, so welcome to the VHS market. But it used to be a thing where movies would come out... Where movies... When movies started to become more like people could own them, but there would be a period where they were only available at super high prices to the rental places. And so I remember as a kid going, oh man, I can't wait for Mission Impossible to be available for consumer purchase.
Yeah.
And it would be like a year. Like the movie would come out like 6 months after it was in theaters, and then it'd be like another 6 months waiting for it to be able to buy in a Fred Meyer or whatever.
It was a contract with the rental stores.
Crazy to think about now in a world where I see a movie and the next week it's available on a streaming service.
Yeah. It's like if you wanted a copy of Mission Impossible, as soon as it was available, you would have to pay the whatever the rental store price.
Trying to talk my dad into buying $100 VHS copy of Mission Impossible. And I say that because literally I did wear out a VHS copy of 1996's Mission Impossible. My love of that franchise has come up many a time on this show.
I know, and it always impresses me.
By the way,
what's fine? It's good.
But my notebook that I take all my notes in. It's Mission Impossible for this show.
IMF.
I will say, there are many people that do this. I love these Etsy notebooks that are made out of old VHS boxes.
I think, these
are very cool.
It's multiple people who do that.
Yeah, that's why I'm not like go to this seller. There's a lot of people who do it, but yes, I do have my Mission Impossible
thing. Yeah,
it's really cool, and it also speaks to, as we're talking about this on VHS, these are fucking worthless as a medium, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was terrible. I meet these weird VHS collectors who go like, "Dude, it's better to watch." No, it was It was always a stopgap.
There might be arguments, and certainly people have made them. And again, it's amazing we're not even talking about the movie. But there are a lot of arguments where people will say vinyl came back not just out of nostalgia, but it actually does sound better. You got to get those. You got to get the right vacuum tube, whatever speakers, and you send your phonograph through, and it sounds amazing. But there's no argument to be made that watching a movie on video is better. Ever.
No, the quality was, and also, can I just put? Just looking at the back of this film has been modified from its original version, formatted to fit your. That alone invalidates it.
Every time I would read that on a cover, I'd be like, "Why the fuck am I even watching it then?"
I remember, because I got big into.
I don't want anything.
I got big into the letterbox VHSs as a film nerd kid, where I was like, "I have Jaws in letterbox." Yeah, ladies. Anybody want to come over and see Jaws in its proper aspect ratio?
Half of my day as a video buyer for the Virgin Megastore in San Francisco was me explaining to people what letterbox was and why it was better, because they were like, I don't want parts of my screen blocked off with a black bar, and I'm like, no, you don't understand the aspect ratio. So you're seeing the full picture that was shot for the movie. Anytime it fills your screen, that's when they've chopped it and then zoomed in so it fits your screen. Oh boy.
I remember being in school once again.
I drew diagrams.
I was just about to say, I remember being in school drawing diagrams for people and going, no, but see, if this person's over here, can't you see? Peter Lorre can't be seen now. Whatever, that kind of stuff. And I did recently see a Siskel and Ebert episode on YouTube where they were doing that discussion in 1990. And I'm going, I bet I saw that episode.
It's so
well, now what's weird is it's the opposite, where you watch old TV, like when I watch Cheers on Paramount, it's black bars on the sides now, and people think that's wrong. And so then they zoom in, and I'm like, now you're doing the opposite and cutting off the top and bottom of the frame.
Yep.
Anyway, a movie that desperately needs to be seen as an original aspect ratio is American Werewolf in Paris. It is a widescreen epic. No, it's not. It's terrible. I mean, it is... Man, I'm gonna offer the faintest of praise because somebody's got to say something. They did shoot in Paris. That's better than a lot of the shit we watch.
That's interesting. That's one of your pieces of praise, because I'll say this: they probably did for a little bit, but that one of the reasons I was asking about the budget is this never convinces me we're in France.
That's funny because they shot entirely in Paris.
Really?
Everything was shot. All the exteriors were shot in Paris, and then they shot in studio in Luxembourg. So,
well, I will say that pretty much, other than shots of the Eiffel Tower and shots
it's horribly shot. Agreed.
It could easily be. A lot of it looks like it could easily be sound stages or backlots. Parts of it, like when we're outside of Seraphine's family home or whatever, literally sitting there going like, yeah, I think that's the New York street over on the Paramount lot. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is this? It does not convince me we're in Paris.
Isn't that funny?
Also because the French people in it, when speaking to other French people, are still speaking French accented English.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I'm like, why would a French person be talking English to another French person?
That is weird, and especially in a movie where it is about, I mean, because, like, movies do that, and it's sort of a thing, like, in a World War II movie, I accept that, like, it's going to be British people speaking to each other as Germans.
Yeah,
but
sure, exactly.
In something like this, where it literally is about foreigners in France, lean into that. That could be part of the plot, for the love of God.
It could be part of the plot. And you could also, of course, you could use subtitles. I mean, are they just thinking, man, people are here for a werewolf movie. They're not going to be sitting there waiting for subtitles.
I got to say, I do love, I don't know how much you looked into the trivia of this movie.
I didn't, because I was ready to forget it and not deal with it. I turned it off.
This has all the best reasons actors talk about taking this movie.
Okay.
Julie Delpy, I should say. It's confusing because both of the women in the movie are named Julie.
Yes.
But Julie Delpy admits that she just needed to pay her rent, was desperate to pay her rent, and is why she took this movie. And Tom Everett Scott took this movie because, as he says, I was 26 and had never been to Europe and thought, great, they'll pay me to go to Europe. And he had a great time. All of his stories are like, I had a great time. I don't really remember making the movie, but all the other stuff I did in Europe was awesome. It was a great trip to Europe.
I applaud that. Those are all solid reasons.
Yeah, I need money to pay my rent, and Tom Everett Scott goes, hey, they'll pay me to go to Paris. I've never been there.
What it does prove, or what it suggests, is that none of them thought, or at least they're not saying so now, but none of them thought this was going to be good, or they really believed in the material.
And I actually think this movie, we were talking about Tom Everett Scott last week on the show, because we both really like him. And I
love that guy.
He is great. And he's, much like when we talk about with Pazdar, the guy hasn't disappeared. He works a lot, but I always just thought that guy should have been bigger. I think this movie really hurt his career, because this is the first movie he makes after That Thing You Do. And
I know.
Coming out of that movie, everybody was saying, this guy's going to be huge. This guy is a leading man.
Because I just didn't get the dates in my head.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, like, I thought it was the other way around.
No, yeah, this is and I mean, but I get why number one he wanted to go to Europe, but I also kind of get why his agency would be like, hey, sequel to an iconic thing, you're coming off of a hot movie where you're the lead, this is a good move for you to make, and it blew up in his face big time.
There are plenty of things like that where you can say that makes sense. Like if this is how it was presented to him, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do assume actors do read scripts.
Well, I mean, that's another thing too, though, because I also want to talk about this script, and specifically the fact that there was a huge arbitration battle for this.
Good.
Yeah. And through that arbitration battle, it came out that there were...
This is the first time in Writers Guild history that people were like saying, please, God, I know I wrote 80% of it, but take my name off of it.
Well, they talk about... It wasn't anyone fighting for it. Writers Guild arbitration process says anytime there are more than 3 writers, they automatically do an arbitration. Is what happened here.
I got you. Yeah, okay.
And they said during that process, this is the 2 of the guys credited with the script said that there were 12 different writers by the end of it that were
you
all...
can't tell that the way this movie flows. It just from scene to scene, you are in the good hands of solid connective tissue writing.
And 2 of these guys, Tim Burns and Tom Stern, who are credited writers on it, are going, this bears no real... Even though they're the credited writers, they go, there is almost nothing from our script in it. Even though they got the thing, and they're really pissed. They're like, we... Kind of like what you're saying, they go, we don't want credit. This has nothing to do. Their script involved the Tom Everett Scott character. It opened the same way with the guy getting killed, but that was going to be Tom Everett Scott's uncle, that he goes to Paris to find out what happened to his uncle who died, meets his uncle's sexy assistant, Seraphine, who ends up being a werewolf, and he gets pulled into the werewolf underworld. Now, I'm not saying that would have been brilliant, but I'm going, that's more of a movie premise than what I saw here. That sounds like a film. It was apparently more kind of Hitchcockian in some way.
Well, I mean, anytime you deal with outsider, decent American guy in Europe and gets involved with intrigue, that always feels Hitchcockian.
Yes.
But I will say this much. There's nothing in this movie that's good. But what I will say is, if you told me that you were going to do a movie and one of the central characters or the plot was that a young female werewolf who is actually the daughter of the 2 characters from an American Werewolf in London.
This is a big point of contention amongst fans, too, as to whether or not she really is the daughter, because it's another thing where across 12 drafts, that was more or less important.
Well, I mean, it's clear. You've got a British nurse mother, ghost.
Yeah.
And the plot being, because we don't find this out till late in the story, but... All right, so she's the daughter of David Naughton and why am I blanking? Jenny Agutter.
Yeah.
From the first movie, and we find out
definitely
that
didn't come back for this. That's just a different British woman.
Exactly.
We don't even see fully.
No, we don't. And she's all in ghost, torn up makeup.
Yeah. And
we find out that there was an attempt at a cure that unfortunately had a reverse effect, and she ended up killing her parents. And of course, or at least killing one and severely wounding the other, turning him into a werewolf as well. Stepfather, by the way.
Yes, of course.
That if you told me that was a part of it, then my immediate thought is, that's not bad. The movie should be about her. There is, I mean, Andy can exist. The American character can exist, but she is more interesting. Her story is more interesting. Andy's just this doof. And yes, the original was about a likable American doof. But this should be the other way around. She is more interesting. Let's spend time with her and have Andy try to be her Prince Charming. But following him around, him and his fucking idiot friends.
Oh my God.
I
mean, immediately, I'm like,
you hate them. You
immediately hate them. And here's the thing. If this wasn't called An American Werewolf in Paris, we would be talking about how shitty this movie is. But you have asked me to compare it to the John Landis movie,
Yeah.
which is maybe in the running for the best movie we've ever covered on this show, and legitimately in my favorite horror films, if not favorite films of all time. I love that movie. You can go back and listen to us talk about it. But, so if you're drawing that comparison, how immediately you love David Naughton and Griffin Dunne, how immediately funny and, you know, recognizable and relatable they are. These guys aren't relatable at all.
That's exactly it. Because the thing about David, and wait, David Naughton's character isn't named David, is it?
You know what?
I think it is.
I think you're right.
David and his friend, played by Griffin Dunne. But
David and Jack, yeah.
David and Jack. Okay, so but we immediately like them because you know what? They're good actors. The dialogue that's written for them is very believable.
It's really good. We talked about that's a key to that movie is how naturalistic it lets you into the world of it before it gets to the supernatural stuff.
And yeah, they're kind of nerdy and doofs.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad thing.
They're dumb college kids, but they're likable. They're harmless. These guys are predators.
Bros.
These are pros.
Brosifs.
These are brosifs, and boy, dude, they're on a daredevil tour.
And they're also literally the ugly Americans because they are on this college trip where they are bouncing around Europe and doing stunts and taking notes, but and getting points.
Whoa! I mean, I'm looking at these guys. Both of these guys, I recommend, or I don't recommend. I don't recommend.
I recommend these guys.
No, these guys, I recognize.
I recommend them for yard work and whatever else they're doing these days.
Vince Viloff, who plays Brad, and Phil Buckman, who plays Chris. They smack of a lot of movies of this era, and this whole movie does, of getting caught up in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s American Pie, Road Trip. And I'm looking at these guys, you know, one of these guys was also in Grind and Barely Legal and, you know, stuff like that. A lot of these guys are like that because I don't know either one, but I'm like, I vaguely remember you as like fourth comedy bro in shitty
the guy who
sex
dies.
Comedy. Yeah,
the one who dies and becomes the ghost.
Yeah,
that's a guy I've seen before.
Yeah, that's Vince Viloff. He plays Brad.
And I've never, clocked him. He just has a recognizable face.
Well, he's the guy who I said was in, but like he has a small part in Harrison Ford's Firewall, and he did some CSI guest appearance. He's in an episode of Friends. I think you just saw he's in 3 episodes of ER. You know what I mean? Like he was just around. And yes, that was both of them. I had this like I've seen these faces, but who? And also just watching this once again, even good actors in this are bad, but particularly watching this. Oh, good for Phil Buckman who plays. He's gone into a career as a voice actor and a lot of stuff. So.
Hey, well, God bless.
Hey, man, he's on the Jurassic World animated show that Netflix does that no one knows exists.
Oh, I heard some about
Camp Cretaceous.
But I will just say this. Awful in this movie.
Yep.
The characters are awful. You can't like them. You literally can't like them.
You can't like them.
Bad.
And the thing that's amazing is this is 1 year after That Thing You Do. One of the most likable leading performances I've ever seen from Tom Everett Scott, and I fucking hated him in this movie. That's so
weird.
Insane.
I was still forgiving him because he still has the same charm. It's just in a terrible movie.
He does, but like
so. In other words, I feel
he's
as offensive as you.
But I feel like it's how he's being directed. It's the comedy scene. I mean, my God, this has. I'm going to say.
Oh no, I know what scene you're about to bring
up. The worst comedy scene of anything we've watched. I stand by it, and it's the condom scene in the cafe.
No, you are absolutely right.
That is only not funny. That's actively unfunny.
And
what's the opposite of laughing? That's what I was doing watching it.
You know that the fucking writers were sitting there going like, yeah, that's where the money is. And it is that sort of American Pie kind of nonsense.
It's Anthony Waller. We got to talk about director Anthony Waller because the two guys who disown the movie are the other credited screenwriters, and then Anthony Waller, who I have to imagine is responsible for a lot of what we're seeing since he's also the director and the last credited writer.
and his cameo. If this movie gives us one thing, it's the director dying. If nothing else, the director of the movie is in the movie
now,
and he has a horrible death.
He's coming off of a film called Mute Witness. Do you remember that movie?
Yes.
And that was okay. That was like an okay kind of Hitchcockian sort of thriller. And then he goes after this, he makes a movie called The Guilty with Bill Pullman. That's also sort of like a generic thriller. So it's weird that this is what he made. I have to imagine there was also some studio interference here too. And I do think, well, because I do think that when you look at this movie, I see where this is people who are less talented than John Landis trying to like reverse engineer American Werewolf in London, going like, it's funny and scary and kind of sexy, and so we're gonna try to put all these pieces, but literally not a single one of those notes works in this. This is actively unfunny. It's not scary at all, and it's not sexy. It's awkward. And if anything, I heard somebody describe this in some other movie, but I think it's true about a lot of stuff of this era. It's afraid of sex. Comedies that are afraid of sex. Somebody was describing, I'm going, that's exactly what this is, where it's all kind of like,
Well, also, okay.
That's true about a lot of this stuff of this era, though.
American Werewolf in London, which, by the way, you can watch all 12 writers trying to find ways, and this is also bad in any kind of sequel, especially if it's a generational sequel where it's not the same characters, but it's their next of kin or whatever. Yeah. But when you try to imitate beats, and then you're like, stop. Because do we have an example of him running naked and being seen by, like normal people on the street? Yes. Sure, you got to have that, right?
Yeah.
And all these things, whenever they do that, I sit there like wanting to punch the screen. But here's the thing again, there is for all of the brilliant, darkly funny satire and violence in American Werewolf in London, this dumbs all of it down and takes away the heart. Because weirdly, the reason that movie has an impact is not that it's really funny, is not that it's really scary. It's all of those.
Yes.
But it also, like we were talking about, David is a character you care about.
Yeah.
And his relationship, even though we were talking about when we reviewed it, it's like that's a really short time frame for them to kind of fall in love.
They sell it in a way that this movie doesn't, because in this movie, Tom Everett Scott seems insane for falling in love.
So it is a tragedy by the end, and you're actually kind of heartbroken.
It works so well. All the scenes with Naughton and Agater in the original movie play so well. The relationship feels so natural. It feels like people falling in love.
But
here,
these
everything
are
is
horny, dickish American students who also, when I say ugly American, it's clear that they have studied nothing about the countries they're going to. They don't know any of the language. I mean, plenty of tourists that go to France can't speak French. But these guys are sort of like openly and like hilariously saying Garcon instead of Garçon. It's like they don't give a shit, man, whatever. So I hate them. And I wanted all of them to die. Well,
they don't. Sadly, they don't. A lot of them don't die, which is really sad. Now,
actually, only one of them dies. Even the other dude survived.
I couldn't believe that guy made it.
No, he makes it all the way to being a best man.
Just in the other background, I don't know if you're aware that the first draft of this was written by John Landis.
No.
Well, the first draft of a movie called An American Werewolf in London sequel. The studio went to John Landis and said, we want to make a sequel to that. He wrote a script that they then said, we don't want that. And then he said, well, I'm not going to write anything else. And so then they moved on. Now, his script, which I have here, I don't have the script, but I have a description of it, focuses on Debbie Klein, a character mentioned but never seen in the original film, getting a job.
The woman that they both had the crush on?
I believe that's the case, yes.
Yeah.
She gets a job in London and subsequently investigates the deaths of David and Jack. Several characters from the original film, including Jenny Agutter would have been back, the doctor character would have been back, the policeman character would have been back. So it would have been a true sequel continuing the events of, I don't know what that would have been. Once again, who knows, it might have been a terrible idea,
It also doesn't sound like it takes place in Paris. So is it just an American Werewolf in London Part 2?
I think that was the idea. Yes, it was a sequel.
Okay.
And my guess is they were looking for something like that. And then he was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. That's my take on a sequel. If you want to do something, do it without me. I don't give a shit. Kind of seemed Landis's point. And they did. And they made something that what's great about this is them not making that Landis script, whatever quality it was, it can always go, oh, it would have been better if they'd let Landis do it. And he can spend forever going like, yeah, man, mine
guarantee.
It would have been better than
a movie like this.
Even if it was horrible, it would have been better than this.
Absolutely. Well, we're in agreement. This is a piece of shit. We should probably get into it.
Well, this movie opens up on the rainy streets of Paris.
Yep.
I mean, I will say the beginning of this movie is not horrible. It seems like a horror movie's beginning as a guy is being pursued by an unseen force underground that's coming up through the grates of the city and chasing him. And I thought, oh, okay. All right, movie. They're being vague. They're not showing anything. If only they had kept that attitude throughout the movie. This is actually, when you were talking about if they had burned the money, I also think this movie probably would have benefited from less money, where they would have been forced to be more creative or interesting and stuff, instead of leaning into some of the worst CGI you've ever seen. I mean, these look like PlayStation 1 werewolf characters.
I mean, again,
like Lara Croft shot these things.
Yes, indeed. I don't have such a great, like, I can't quite pinpoint when stuff began, got better, whatever. It's all just organic. But I will say,
well, let's look at what
this surprised me for a 97 movie.
Let's look at what else was out. This is distinct for what else came out in 1997. All right, so you know, you do have Batman and Robin, which is terrible, but I do think actually had better CGI than this. And it doesn't have good CGI. Yeah. You have The Fifth Element that came out this year.
Oh.
Starship Troopers, Contact. These are all sci-fi, special effects heavy movies.
Guess what? They all look better.
They all look better than this. Alien Resurrection looks better than this.
Oh, it does, even though that last creature is one of the worst things ever.
Agreed. Event Horizon, a movie I'm a big fan of.
Event Horizon, yeah.
That looked better than this. I haven't seen The Relic since it came out. That might be about on par with the bad special effects of this, but still probably better.
I think that it's still bad, but I think that creature, is kept in darkness a lot because
that's
they realize
kind of my memory of
we can't rely on this looking great.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Was that 97? Hold on. Mimic. Oh, Mimic also came out. I love Mimic.
Yeah, Mimic.
Now,
sure.
Mimic used a lot of practical effects, though, because that's Guillermo del Toro creature design stuff. Mimic's awesome, especially if you get the Guillermo del Toro director's cut, which I highly recommend. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so what we're saying is that they did make some good special effects movies at this time. This is also the year after Independence Day.
Oh.
Which was like a real step forward in CGI, I think, that movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is possible. The other thing the other thing, people focus on the CGI, which is awful, but also the werewolf designs themselves are terrible.
Well, I think that goes hand in hand, actually, because what I think is they're like, well, okay, we're going to do the all four legs on the floor, wolf body-ish, because it is a sequel.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and recreate what the practical effects from the first movie were in CG.
Yeah.
But this, that was limited. You didn't really get to see it bounding and leaping. So we're going to have that. That's going to be great. And then you realize, or they realized, wow, that's going to be very difficult with the way that CG looks right now. So we're probably going to have to, I just think that the limitations they could not overcome, and they just sort of gambled and said, good enough? And all of us all together said, no.
Oh, no, Lord, no.
No, the jerky stop motion demon dogs and Ghostbusters from 1984
look better than this. Look
shit.
Way better than this. Actually, those look pretty good aside from like a couple shots when they leap at stuff. But in general, they look pretty good.
In the practical versions of them, which really never run, but just like great. When he's throwing the clothes around and all that
but
stuff.
You do have stuff when it's exploding out of Rick Moranis' apartment. You're like, but I'll still far more believable than this shit, though.
And scarier.
Ghostbusters, infinitely scarier than this movie. Isn't even I mean, there are times when I'm going, I don't even know if this movie's trying to be scary in places. I'm going,
I can't tell
so
you either.
Fails to even understand like how you build scary stuff in a movie. It's wild. There's like the faintest jump scares, which is also the laziest kind of scares, of course, but can be effectively done. But even the jump scares are like, Jesus, that's lame.
There is one sequence, literally one sequence, where I was like, I like that. It's something we've seen before, but they did it pretty well, except for the CG. But again, the whole point of it is we couldn't see it. It was the thing in the tunnel when they're trying to light the light, and you see it coming a little closer with each one, the light with the light on. I was like, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, but of course, once again, done in by the fact that we've seen it done way better several other times.
And then when it leaps out fully from the shadow, you're like, oh.
Awful. Well, it's the same thing with the Delpy transformation. The very first practical makeup on it, you're like, oh, and then it turns to CG, you're like, oh, no. But
you know what? Finally, we got a female werewolf that had 6 nipples.
Oh my god,
that was the most important thing.
And the movie had to zoom in on those suckers, man.
Oh yeah, that's why I went.
So yes, we have that. We immediately cut from what is and it's even kind of interestingly cross-cut. This guy getting killed at the beginning with this like choir singing.
Yeah, they're trying to, obviously, Paris, it's all culture and blah, blah, blah. So there's this, and I thought that would tie in. Like, one of our important characters is at that concert. No, that's just them showing you Paris.
Yeah.
So there is a, orchestral thing going on at some gorgeous theater in Paris, and outside of it is a taxi driver and a guy coming out of the sewer, both getting attacked by a werewolf.
Yes.
That we don't see.
No, and then it cuts to our daredevil brows, babe. And I almost it doesn't play, but God, it should have played. Do 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 do. Like, I just want that sort of like introduction to them. I mean, it plays everything but that.
We do get Smash Mouth.
We do get some Smash Mouth. We get might as well be walking on the sun.
Deep, deep, deep. And
which shouldn't be in any movie, period, because Smash Mouth's an awful band. But 2 should definitely not be in anything ever trying to be scary.
No.
Once you play Smash Mouth, you'll never come back to scary.
I'll say this. I am a fan of 2 of the bands on the soundtrack, and I felt bad that they were on there. I was like, Cake's on there?
Yeah.
I like Cake. And also Fastball. And I was like, I like these guys.
It is interesting
it's
that I'm going.
It's not their fault. They took the money. Come on.
Yeah, well, and it's not like they made original songs for the movie either. You know what I mean?
No, that's right.
The soundtrack is some of what I was listening to at the time, although I am going, I just kept clocking what bands aren't on the soundtrack that feel like they should have been.
I was wrong. I said there would be garbage, and there's no garbage.
There's no garbage. There is a Limp Bizkit, though.
Oh, boy.
Better Than Ezra. Oh, Bush.
And there's Gavin, what's his name?
Gavin Rossdale. Bush, yeah.
Yeah, but without Bush. I think that was a solo Gavin Rossdale.
No, it's a Bush song. It
is Bush? Okay.
It's Mouth by Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing.
I think that's the one that opens it.
No, it's the one that's playing when they're having sex on Jim Morrison's grave. Yeah, when they're having sex on Jim Morrison's grave is when it's playing.
Oh, God.
All involved, all involved should be ashamed. Okay, so our Daredevil guys are racking up the Daredevil points, brah.
They are on vacation in Europe, and they are doing Daredevil stunts and raiding each other.
And something that's very not cool, that they've made their own T-shirts that say Daredevil Tour. These guys are lame as fuck.
Yep.
And yeah, they're granted their Daredevil points, but Tom Everett Scott is way behind, brah. Come on, bro.
And they're like, you got to step up your game. And then there's a lady on the train, a hot blonde lady, and they're like, all right, we'll give you double points or whatever if you go hit on her. And he's like, oh, man, she's not my speed. Besides, I want to fall in love. God damn.
Yeah, they're trying to do, once again, it is in that American Pie vein or whatever. It's like, he's the sensitive one. He's not a horn dog like the other guys.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Except he's not that much less douchey. That's always the problem. It's like he's still pretty douchey by anyone's standards.
I'm telling you, turning into a werewolf, makes him frighteningly douchey.
Oh my god! I mean, the scene when he meets Julie Bowen, that's terrifying.
That should. I am surprised that neither he nor Ms. Bowen have tracked down the original negatives and burned that scene.
My god, yeah. Thank God they both have had successful careers.
Agreed, because I'm gonna, we're laying into them.
Yeah.
But we admit, I love Julie Delpy. I love Tom Everett Scott.
Yep.
I love Julie Bowen.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Watching Ed, all I could think about was Julie Bowen.
I've brought this up on the show. I love Julie Bowen. She's one of my favorite actors, and you're actually not going to hear me be too rough on her in this movie. I'm going to say this movie embarrasses her a lot, but I'm going to say I think she's trying to be. I think she's trying to be funny in this movie, as the movie is asking her to be. I'm not saying she's succeeding.
She's trying, but it doesn't.
The movie also doesn't even commit to that character being a character, since she just disappears at a certain point in it.
Oh,
it's weird.
Yeah, that's true. Especially since her whole thing, which a clever twist,
that there are two Griffin Dunns.
That is actually a victim of his.
Yeah.
So she is actively trying to get him killed instead of giving him advice like the other guy who he didn't kill, but was his friend.
Not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea, but it is painful.
There's a few good ideas in this movie.
I said, the whole thing about her character not Bowen.
Can we just quickly talk about how terrible this poster is real quick? Because I forgot to do that. It's literally just a terrible werewolf face overlaid on a shot of Paris.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's awful. With the horrible tagline of, "Things are about to get a little hairy." That's the exact right reaction to that tagline.
That's the kind of my captors have tried to tell me to act naturally, not give anything away.
By the way, $25 million, as we said, $25 million budget, $26.5 million worldwide gross.
Is that a lot?
No. Is that a lot? Star Trek 4, folks. This movie came out Christmas Day, too. That's weird.
Wow.
December 25th, 1997. Come on, folks. Come on, kids. We open up all the presents. Let's go see American Werewolf in Paris.
Come on, Grandma.
And then one last note from the IMDb here before we get back to the movie. There's a photo. It's the first photo that comes up, and it's from the premiere of this movie. And it's our boy Tim Oliphant at the premiere.
Oh.
Just happy not to be in this piece of shit.
Was he dating someone in it?
I don't know. He wouldn't have been, because I know he's been married to the same woman since like college. So
why would he go?
I think he was in something else from the studio.
Oh,
it's one of those things, I think. But Let's
get you out there in front of him, Tim.
Yeah, it is very 97 Oliphant. He's got crazy spiky hair and an earring. Oh man, it's a douchey looking Oliphant. Isn't
that what you want?
Who's going, I'm gonna have a better career than anyone in this movie.
Boy, will you?
Yeah. Well, because he dodged a bullet. Now he does. Well, the horror sequel he does is Scream 2, much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that
you're gonna get stuck in a sequel that maybe no one asked for.
I think that's what
is
he's
a better one.
I think that's what he's in. That's also because this is all in that Hollywood Pictures, Miramax, Disney subsidiaries. So I think that's what he's in when he's at this premiere.
Had he already? He was in Go, right? Has he already been in Go?
I believe he's already been in Go. Oh no, he's about to be in Go. He's in Scream 2. I liked Go a lot, too. He's in Scream 2 and then Go. Those are sort of the two that break him.
That break him, and he's never been the same.
I know.
It just didn't heal right.
I said that on... Oh, right. And then then he's like cop number... He's the second cop in Gone in 60 Seconds. Anyway, folks, welcome back to Oliphant Cast. Rather be talking about that.
We need to talk about the Oliphant in the room.
Oh, man. I mean, once again, it's one of those things where I go, like, this movie wouldn't be better with him, and he probably would be just as bad as Tom Everett Scott.
No, he would.
Because this movie can't be fixed. I try to fix these movies sometimes. This is a page one rewrite.
I'm standing by my thing of it could be right if you reduce douchebaggery and focus on Seraphine.
Maybe. But that's still almost a page one rewrite, though.
It is. It's totally a page one rewrite, but I would keep that concept and then chuck all the rest.
By the way, that concept did come from the original writers, that he did meet her, and the whole thing about the werewolf cure, that was all in there. It just was done with a much more serious tone and a darker ending where in their script he does have to kill her at the end to save himself. As Moonshadow plays in their script.
See?
Well, that's keeping to that. Like here, it's like
they do one.
They do one.
There is I'm the Wolf Man song.
But also then let's just flood the movie with tons of terrible music from the time. I was waiting
sounds great.
I was waiting for an Eve 6 song. I never got an Eve 6 song. And I was an Eve 6 fan. Even though there is literally a heart in a blender.
Why couldn't we? Yes, that's true. That's true. Why couldn't we get some Elastica?
Yeah.
Or some Letters to Cleo?
Letters to Cleo. Yeah. All of that stuff. I do think it's interesting what bands probably said no.
Why can't we get some Mudhoney? Is it too early for Mudhoney?
Oh, I feel like this is prime Mudhoney territory.
This is awful. This movie's so bad.
It's so bad. I mean, like, that's the thing, though, where it's failing on every level. I'm talking about
every level.
It's not like, if we just swapped out this element or something.
When we talk about Kolchak the Night Stalker on our other podcast, we're constantly talking about the thing that always saves it. I mean, because there are bad episodes, but you always get Darren McGavin delivering.
Here, people,
you've got people.
They've got people who can deliver, but the script is terrible, and they're clearly being directed. Also,
and yes, they have been let down by every aspect.
It's one of those baffling things, like I said, though, where it is just like, I know all of you are good actors, or at least the three we've talked about. I know you're all good. I will say, How Did This Get Made covered this movie. And the biggest note that I agree with from there is Jason Mantzoukas saying this movie is also missing a Van Helsing character. There is no, which American Werewolf in London does have, but somebody because they like Delpy is both the werewolf and kind of that slightly.
Yeah,
but there is
the one
nobody
that will explain it, and she'll also be the one who sets up all the exposition of this is how you have to.
But it's so, and this has to be something that I bet got lost in draft after draft after draft, but it's so wonky. The rules of it are, and the villains of the movie, we'll get to the neo-Nazi werewolves that are so ill-defined.
And I also think, oh man,
so lazy too, right? Just go, and they're Nazis, so bad.
Well,
werewolves.
yes, but also the idea that they know Seraphine because she's like a very famous Paris werewolf in the werewolf community.
She's big in the werewolf community.
But they also know about her stepfather's cure. So why have they waited until Andy the American shows up? All the stuff that they're planning.
Now that Tom Everett Scott is here, we can take our plan into motion.
What, a couple years before? And also, how is their big thing of we're going to invite all these Americans to a thing and kill them? And you're like, great plan to totally set you up to fail. It's
once again, we're back to the From Dusk Till Dawn thing where you're drawing a lot of attention to yourself. Because you even have the
exactly.
I thought this French detective character was going to kind of take the role of the Van Helsing or like the doctor in the American Werewolf in London. No. These fucking dum-dums end up on sneaking onto the Eiffel.
Thank you, Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, well, agreed on that. Yeah, I don't know if he says that on that episode, but
he does call a lot of people dum-dums.
He does on that. I don't know if he does, but these guys definitely deserve dum-dums. Because these characters, I almost feel like their defining characteristic is that they're dum-dums. they sneak into the Eiffel Tower after dark because you can just kind of, we hid from the security guard and they're
apparently
shutting her down for the night. I also love the
then
idea
they climb the outside of it.
Insane.
Yep. Well, they're daredevils, man. They're
not
daredevils.
Since Lois Lane was almost killed by those terrorists have I seen this kind of.
All I'm saying is you're not giving them enough credit. They live on the edge, man.
They're daredevils, bro.
Through the entire movie, they're drinking Mountain Dew. That's how extreme they are.
They're doing the dew, man. I mean, the other thing that does need the Oliphant in the room as it is. I'm going to keep using that. Is the 1997 of it all, right? This is so.
Oh yeah.
We talked about the music, but just the extreme sports, the vibe of everything in this movie, the outfits, oh my god, Tom Everett Scott with a do-rag on later really got me.
You know another great thing about American Werewolf in London? It didn't try to ground itself in a particular time.
It was pretty timeless. It holds up so well as a result of that.
You don't watch that other than looking at clothes, and even then they're not stereotypical clothes of the era.
Well, they spend the whole beginning of the movie in puffer
jackets. Ads in the background, like I mentioned, like
the TV,
that Wendy's ad in the tube where it's like coming to London.
Yeah,
Wendy's.
When he's watching TV, sees some kind of 80s commercials, but like. All the music is purposely anachronistic. It really it's one of the things that helps that movie a lot.
No one's walking around saying dumb 80s things. No one is saying that's grody or anything. Plus it's early 80s. That stuff.
I mean, to be fair, but it's also not carrying some of those early 80s movies. You're still carrying that 70s sheen.
Yeah,
to them,
exactly.
It doesn't have that. It's. I mean, it's why it's still so watchable.
It's always a mistake, I think, with a movie. Generally any movie, unless it's your point, is to call attention to the period.
Yeah.
But it's always a mistake to so ground something like that. That it's just like I'm watching this, and it's just like you say. It's like I'm taken back to '97, a year that I could give or take, buck, and there was nothing exciting or
it's interesting. The year
about it.
I want the reverse of this, and I definitely think a lot of the reason why this movie is the way it is too is the year before this is Scream, which just fundamentally rewrites. But that's a movie where it's very 1996, and it's part of the charm. That's also a franchise that has continued to ebb and flow with the times, where like the movies now feel like movies now. Even
this series could have done it if they had gone on, like an American Werewolf in Istanbul or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, where were they going to go next, man?
You never know with these kids.
But talking of Superman, we're about to get a Superman save from Tom Everett Scott here.
Which defies all physics?
It defies all physics and also is welcome to the extreme amount of green screen in this movie, folks. The green screen is non-stop.
Okay, so they're at the top of the Eiffel Tower, and Tom Everett Scott's character
top of the world,
is trying to prove himself and get some Daredevil points, so he is attaching a bungee cord to his ankle.
Oh, and do you love this when he opens up his backpack and it's just bungee cord?
Yeah, and his friends are like going, Andy, you don't have to do this. Come on, man, this is crazy. And the other ones are like, he's not really going to do it. He's going to check it out.
Here's the thing too about the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
bad idea to bungee it, right?
Right, because it gets out.
It gets bigger as it goes down.
It's not a straight drop. But we actually see Andy with his notebook figuring out wind speed and all this nonsense.
Oh, because this will help later when he's working on the werewolf cure.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, where he goes, why don't we just fix it? I'm like, what the fuck is this movie?
Who are you, dumbass? Come on.
But also, get back to the green screen thing. When he's sitting on the thing and he's putting the thing on his ankle and his friend is standing above him going, you don't have to do this, man. That's crazy. It's obvious. It's not great. It's like, okay, that's not good, but I'll take that. Then, every time they do a close-up of the friend in the same position, I'm just sitting there going like, holy crap. I did stuff in AV Club that looked better than that.
It really is just like, and replace with Paris.
Click, there click. You go. Yeah. It's really just like a night sky, but it looks so, because they're so high up, but it looks so bad.
Right.
And then he is going to do it anyway. He's at the railing. Oh, and he sees a beautiful French girl who seems upset.
The same beautiful French girl that seemed upset when Ethan Hawke met her in France a couple years earlier. Oh, man, do I wish I was watching Before Sunrise instead of this. Good Lord.
Before Sunrise, one of the best improv romance movies you'll ever watch.
That whole trilogy, man, is great. I love all three of those movies.
I actually never saw the last one.
Oh, Before Midnight is it's rough, man. That one's rough because now they're married and going like, what are we doing with our lives?
Why should we be together?
Yeah, I can't wait for the next one, man. They're about due for another one.
Before Dawn, and it's one of them at the other's funeral.
They did. Yeah, no, he said Linklater said he was going to do one about every 10 years. They just check. Right. I love that idea. Let's just check in with this couple every 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. That is a sad thing too about like Julie Delpy, who helps write those, she's directed movies I've liked or written them. Has she directed them? Did she direct those movies?
I think she's directed a few.
Let's see. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Bonjour.
She did. Yes. 2 Days in Paris and 2 Days in New York, which I like both of those. Yeah. She's good. She's very talented. And this movie, like I said, she's one of those performances where I'm going like, don't try so hard, Julie Delpy. This is terrible material. But yeah,
but it's the thing about she is not going to phone it in ever.
She's just paying her rent, but she's trying.
Yeah.
I think everybody is trying, but she has the most serious part, so it reads as the most like a dramatic attempt in the movie. Like Julie Bowen is trying, it's just her character is so broadly comedic.
Yep.
And Julie Bowen does not have great things to say about the makeup process, which apparently neither did Griffin Dunn, except that was actually better makeup, though.
It's true. It's like this is like more than a decade later, and it looks horrible.
Yeah.
So it's not just the CG, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. The makeup looks bad.
Although we'll get to that CGI eye bulge.
Oh man.
Yeah, poor Julie Bowen. Poor everybody.
I was thinking that because I do like her a lot, but
poor everybody in this thing.
Oh Jesus!
At least our three leads, poor. And that's another thing that we'll get to. Claude, the evil werewolf. Who cares? But boy, that guy's a nobody. That guy.
That's what I'm saying. Is like there are three main people in this who we know went on to be in better things, and had been in better things. And then a bunch of other people, like not even his buddies, other than us kind of recognizing the face. It's like
that's usually a sign of trouble for me in a movie when the supporting characters are played by not like character actors or things, and just absolute nobody.
By fill-in guy.
Because like American Werewolf in London, you've seen all those people that show up.
Oh yeah,
yeah, sort of thing. We go, like, oh, that guy and this guy and this is like who? And looking at that guy who played Claude, it's like a handful of French TV appearances and then nothing.
And you have like the French lady police captain, who has a couple of scenes, but her character is also ill-defined, and so you're like, is there a point to her other than I'm a police captain? Know what? I don't believe in werewolves. No, there are such things as werewolves. And I'm dead.
This be 1997, and I bet they tried. I wonder if they tried. I am shocked we did not get a Jean Reno or a Vincent Cassel. Either one of those guys feel like they would have been the French guys in Hollywood movies. Yeah, but I think Jean Reno is doing Ronin at this time, which is a fucking great movie. So,
it's better than this.
Yes, I love Ronin. That car chase rules.
It is very good.
So he goes. Oh yeah, they see her, and Tom Everett Scott's like, I'm gonna try to talk her down. Hey, whatever this is about, it ain't worth it, honey. All of a sudden, hostage negotiator Tom Everett Scott shows up.
Yeah, and basically he says it very similar to the way you did. In other words, it would convince no one not to jump.
It is because he knows nothing about this woman, so it's just base level. Like whatever this is, we can talk it out. But basically, he's just like, you're too hot to die.
That's kind of it.
If this was like a weird homeless guy,
you back away.
I'm saying if this was a dirty homeless guy, he would have just let him jump.
Okay. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But she jumps, and so he jumps right after her. and he's got the bungee cord, don't forget, and apparently he's close enough. Okay, there are many problems with the physics.
Yeah.
She is not directly under him because she was a few feet to the side.
Correct.
So how is he going to... they never explain that. Then how is he going to catch up? Because things fall at a same rate dependent upon their...
I remember that from middle school physics.
Right. So, but they do make a purpose of showing her like the arms out thing, but he has done the speed bullet thing, pulled his arms in like, I'll catch up to her.
I keep saying Superman. This is more, actually speaking of Mission Impossible, this is more of an Ethan Hunt move.
Yeah. And it would still defy physics. But
it would still defy physics, except it wouldn't because Tom Cruise would really jump off the Eiffel Tower.
Sure.
Except he wouldn't because you'd die, and he would be smart enough not to do it.
Grabs her ankle.
Yes.
So he now has her. He's holding her.
Also, he's not tied into anything. So we're also cutting back to the two douchey friends grabbing onto the bungee.
To believe that the two guys would somehow be able to support the weight with the bungee cord of the two people that have velocity.
I don't know, bro. Chris looked pretty jacked when he had to take his shirt off later.
That's true, man. That was my favorite bit. And then he took his pants off.
Wow, bro. Wow.
But he grabs her ankle right before they're like at the bottom part of their drop, which means they're about to jump back up, except she slips through his hands and he ends up just having her shoe, and she is somehow able, maybe it would take some of the velocity away because he's slowed her a bit, but she would still splat. Okay, there's no such thing as you get to the bottom of that, and because he had your ankle, that you can just kind of roll away.
I mean, best case scenario, if you stopped her going that fast, he's gonna like rip her leg off or snap her leg into or something,
or snap her neck, a la Gwen Stacy.
Well, that's exactly what would happen, right? I mean, I do, points to, as people pointed out, say what you will about Batman v Superman, but Zack Snyder does do the most realistic Superman save of Lois, which is when she's falling, he flies under her to match her velocity and then just kind of like catches her, sort of thing. And it actually was like the first time somebody thought, hey, that's how you would do that. You couldn't just grab somebody.
No, that's legit.
Yeah. But
still,
here,
I'm gonna watch that movie. You can't force me to.
Well, we'll see one of these. No, I don't really. I don't know.
By the way, Joker is on my watch list. I know.
Horrible.
Anyway,
you talk about going splat. How about when Tom Everett Scott is bounced back up into the metal of the? So his head is gone, right?
Yeah. Now, granted, he won't be going as fast, but the conch that they show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pretty serious.
By the way, one of about 4 conch jokes in this movie. Why are there so many like boom jokes in this film?
Because it's funny. Tell me you didn't laugh.
I don't think I laughed at a single thing in this movie.
Okay.
Did you laugh at anything in this movie? I don't think I laughed at anything.
When he wakes up in the hospital too, and god damn it.
Oh, he's like the cartoon bandages?
He's got bandages all over his head, a la a cartoon mummy-ish thing. And then the thing that drove me fucking nuts. If they showed his friends doing it, then I would have laughed. But on top of the white gauze bandages, someone has done like big band-aids and weird places like on top of the bandages. That serves no purpose other than, isn't it crazy how bandaged up he is? He's got band-aids on top of bandages. And I hated that. It was a little detail that I hated. But anyway, they go, hey, man, you're lucky to be alive. Oh, yeah, it's like, cool. And he goes, oh, what happened to that girl? And I'm like, we don't know. She ran off. And I still have her shoe. Ha-ha, it's Cinderella story. Ha-ha, you'll never find her. And then he immediately sees her in the hallway.
There she is.
Hospital.
And what is she doing in this hospital? She's stealing a heart
from
surgery.
He runs out into the hallway, even though I'm sure that he would have collapsed or passed out immediately. But anyway, he runs out.
Yeah.
And he sees her, and she looks at him confused, and he's like, hey, and she's like, and runs away,
and then
holding a Ziploc bag with a heart in it.
Conk number 2 now, the surgery door opens behind him, and my favorite character in the movie is confused French surgeon going, hey, where'd that heart go?
I think he actually says, she stole my heart.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Isn't that good?
Jesus Christ.
I literally had to pause because I laughed for 8 minutes straight. I actually timed it. It was so funny. That door and the heart. Oh my God.
But like,
I love
what
a
is
conch. I
there's,
love a conch.
There's no follow-up to this. Wouldn't this be like a big deal? Like, hey, that girl, she took the heart.
Yeah, but she disappears pretty quick. I guess she's fast on her feet.
But then so they're like, man, how am I ever find this girl? And then truly, this is one of those things where it's like, guys, I know movies are hard, and I say this a lot on Action Shelf, and I say it on here too. I'm not pretending I'm some brilliant screenwriter, all right? I don't think I've got genius solutions. But let's just talk basic, like, this is just objectively bad that he goes, how do I find this girl? Hey, dumb friends, go back to the Eiffel Tower and find her suicide note.
Yeah, he did see her holding a suicide note.
Yes.
When she jumped. But
this is stupid for 2 reasons.
For more reasons.
Well,
but
at least two immediate ones. The idea that they would find it, that they could find it. 2, that it would
a random wind had not blown it into a sewer. Great.
And then 2, that it would have the information of where she is. Her name and address are on it.
I know.
That's just in terms of from a structural standpoint. The scene is then stupid because it's a comedy montage set to a Smash Mouth song.
Yep, of them running around going,
well about walking on the sun.
Do you know this girl? Have you seen this girl?
And I don't know. This is what 15 to 20 minutes into the movie, and I went, "Oh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen." And yes, there is a scene where one of the guys goes to ask a woman and then looks at her boobs.
Oh, even worse. There's a scene where a guy sniffs a woman up under her skirt.
Oh, well, that's late.
I know.
That is. Yes, but that is the kind of movie we're dealing with here. It is sort of just like, you know what this needs? A horny teen comedy. And they were horny college students in the old movie, but like realistically so.
They were realistically
in that they wanted to meet girls and have sex with them. They weren't insane.
But they also realized we just bomb everywhere we go, and no one was interested anywhere we go. And why didn't we stick around with that girl that we have a crush on back in the States? And I think she cheated on me. Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like, oh, this is how I have talked to my friends about girls, not this where like a guy just sees a woman with a low-cut top and goes, "Oh,
you might as well be walking on the sun."
Now, I will say, Smash Mouth, awful band. It's an awful song, but goddamn, if I didn't have that in my head for the rest of the day, those are earworms.
Well, that's the reason they succeeded. They aren't good, but they at least twice or 3 times gave us earworms.
Well, because
like
around this time we had Mystery Men, which I love, but has All Star. That's 99. Yep. But that was in that.
Wait, did they use that before Shrek did?
They did,
I don't
because
remember when Shrek came out.
That song was written for Mystery Men.
Ah, there you go.
The Mystery Men are in the music video for that song.
Hey now, oh that's right. Fuck. Wait, was Janine in it?
Play. Yeah, they're all in.
Janine's in a Smash Mouth video.
Yeah, the whole cast is in. I mean, it was a tie-in.
I'm gonna need a moment. I'm better.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, it was I think the Mystery Men are rocking out with Smash Mouth in it.
I do love the fact that Tom Everett Scott's major cranial injury seems to be pretty good. Like the next day, he's not even bandaged anymore. He is wearing a hat, I guess, or something. And they go to Seraphine's house. Is that next?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they do somehow find it, and they go, her name's Seraphine, and she lives here. What?
Yep.
What?
He bangs on the door, and she comes to the door.
He doesn't bang on the door. She's got a adorable little European bell on a string that goes ding-a-ling-a-ding.
And then she's like, yes. And he goes, hi, I saved you in the Eiffel Tower. And she goes, oh, yes, that was so selfless. Thank you so very much. And he goes, my name is Andy, and you're Seraphine. She goes, yeah. And she goes, "Thank you so much, but you should leave now. And I got no time for you." Closes the door, and he's like, "Hey, that's not enough."
No, he goes, "She had blood on her hands. She's probably trying to kill herself again. We have to stop this." Bang, bang, bang on the door.
That's right. He sees the red on her hands, which is blood, but she comes up with a story about, "I was just painting the basement."
And he goes, "Hey, my brosa friends and I here can do that for you faster than you can." She's like, no, that's fine. I'm gonna stop doing that because I respect Julie Delpy. But
I know, and
yeah,
again,
and she's actually, she gives the best performance in this terrible movie, and she's still not good, but she is at least trying to go, I'm gonna play this sincere.
Yes.
And once again, that's neither good nor bad. That just is in this movie.
And also, as in everything she was ever in, she's luminous.
She is. She lights up the screen is exactly what she does. She really does.
And one of the most embarrassing scenes an actress has ever had to be in, she still plays it like she's in the moment.
A class act.
Yeah, she's in the moment, and she's somewhat charming.
Yep.
She pulls that off like, you need to calm down. That scene is horrible. And you're like, who wrote this for her?
Let me say, she does it well enough that you almost believe a human being would do that. You still don't believe it.
And you feel sorry for her, but you're also impressed that she's not more embarrassed or embarrassing in that scene.
Yes.
That's a weird compliment.
At this time,
you could have been much more embarrassing in that scene, but
a much better movie with her a couple years before this. I do love the movie Killing Zoe. That was very much in my, era of indie crime obsession. I'm still obsessed with indie crime movies, but like when they were making a lot of that post Tarantino,
I don't remember what year it was. It was possibly 98, 99, somewhere in there. My one public spotting of her was at was it a coffee house? Yeah, it was a coffee house in LA that my brother took me to. And she was at a table watching the stand-ups and the singer-songwriters. And she was with Adam Goldberg.
Yes.
And I think they might have dated.
Well, they made that movie together, 2 Days in Paris, and I think that was based on their relationship, if I know. I think that was somewhat autobiographical of her taking him to Paris to meet her family.
Okay, then they probably were exactly a couple. But I remember sitting there several tables away going, holy hell, she's gorgeous in real life, and what does Adam Goldberg have that I don't?
That guy,
but that was a long time ago.
That guy,
I like him a lot.
Well, because that guy was kind of the us in movies at that time, right?
Oh,
he was
sure,
sort of
man.
like intellectual. I mean, I remember seeing Dazed and Confused and going,
"Yes,
that's me. I'm that character." The guy who's
one thing that's great about watching
overthinking.
Dazed and Confused is looking through it, and it's similar to Freaks and Geeks, where you go, "Which one am I? Out of all these characters, which one am I?"
Yeah.
And it probably was Adam Goldberg as well.
Yeah, I was a Neil in Freaks and Geeks. I know this about myself because the guy doing Shatner impressions and stuff was very much me.
Well, anyone that admits that they were, I can't remember Martin Starr's character's name.
Bill.
Oh, that's right. Anyone who thinks they're Bill, I worry about them. I hope they're okay.
Well, people talk
that was a brilliant comedic performance.
It was, and Bill and Neil were two sides of Apatow split, is kind of what they said. The sad divorced kid was the Bill side of it, and then the desperate wannabe comedian kid was Neil. So that's the
totally great.
But yes,
him dressing up as Jamie Summers, that's something I'll never.
I'm sorry, you'll have to speak into my bionic ear. So funny.
Okay, moving on to something that isn't good.
Julie Delpy, do you remember? I'm sure you do, of course. Is in the MCU.
Where?
She is the one of the main people in the Red Room in the flashbacks to
You're right.
Natasha Romanoff. She's there as like whatever the weird sort of ballet teacher.
Not much more than a cameo, but I love that she's in the MCU.
She is. And also, of course, I forgot she's also luminous in Three Musketeers around the same time. Which was
even though I hate that version of Three Musketeers.
Oh, we're not gonna have this, but that's my favorite version of Three Musketeers because it is the best one. Oh, that's the best one. Are you kidding me?
Though I will say Oliver Platt is great. Oliver Platt is always great.
Everyone is great in that. I don't know what you're talking about. Tim Curry as Cardinal Richelieu.
I don't know how you can say that is better than the Salkinds.
Way better than the Salkinds. Way better than the Salkinds. Infinitely better. All right, we're not going to have this conversation now, but
you're a child of the 90s. That's why you
love it.
That
movie is
that's
great.
That's all it is.
A couple of luminous women in that, because you also have Gabrielle Anwar, who I love.
I know. What happened to her? Where's Gabrielle Anwar?
Well, she did like 8
That's
seasons.
That's your mission. Find out where
she did. Like 8 seasons of Burn Notice.
Oh, I never watched Burn Notice.
I was a big Burn Notice fan.
Well, I'm very glad that she kept working.
Yeah, she was one of the main characters on that.
Scent of a Woman. Body Snatchers. Those are the things that I knew her from like
Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. Once again, my indie crime
Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. Sure.
Yeah, this was the shit I was watching, man. For
all
Love
the
or Money.
Tarantino knockoffs.
For Love or Money, with Michael J. Fox.
Yep.
That's not bad.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Anyway, we just want to talk about. Folks, we want to talk about anything other than this. I mean, anything other than
Let's catch up. All right, so Andy went to see Seraphine.
And
she said, stay away.
Kind of to get him to go away. She goes, "I'll meet you tomorrow." And the joke here is, what can we go to? Like, are there any cafes around here?
Yeah,
and I actually in my apartment by myself inside, I heard crickets. I actually heard crickets. I
was in my apartment by myself, and I heard you groan, and you live several miles away from me.
We live in different parts of the city, and yet you could hear me go, ugh. There was an audible sound to my eyes rolling. Yeah.
Are there any cafes around here? And she just looks at him and goes, "This is Paris."
Yeah. Once again, kind of a good underplayed delivery from Delpy. Delpy's weirdly good in this.
I know.
She's
Tom
still
Everett
bad.
Scott is trying to be the charming American, but they have given him shit.
That's the thing, is Tom Everett Scott is bad in this movie despite his efforts. I do think he is trying to be charming, but he is a very charming actor, but he is trying to bring his charm up over how bad the character is written. And it works in some places and not in others. I will say he did make a smart decision after this when he did oh fuck, what was it? One True Thing. Do you remember that movie where Meryl Streep's dying and Renee Zellweger has to go home?
Yeah, based on a novel.
Yeah, I think he was the boyfriend in that. And I'm going, that was a good way to deal with this bomb, was go be fourth lead with a bunch of Academy Award winners and a weepy drama.
And he did lots of TV. He did ER for a bit.
Lots of TV. I watched his paramedic show Saved. I did watch that.
Oh, I never did.
Yeah. It was set here in Portland. It was one of those shows that was set in Portland but shot in Vancouver. And
of course.
And as Portlanders, we love to go like, no, I don't fucking think so.
That's true of every person that lives in a city that has been fictionally represented on television. Every single person sits there going, you can't get from there to there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I forgot he did have a recurring. My love of Law and Order has been talked about on the show. He did he had a recurring role in there as the governor of New York, who was very much a stand-in for Spitzer.
Oh,
because he had a whole sex scandal thing. Of course, in that he had murdered the prostitute, right?
Of course,
they couldn't prove it. That sort of thing. Classic. And then last, I will note that very much in our world, he frequently does the voice of Booster Gold for DC animated.
I saw that. That's great.
He's played Booster Gold in a number of things. That's perfect, man. And a small but significant role in La La Land. Was kind of a big one that I was like, hey, when I saw
La La Land. I haven't seen. It's on my watch list.
Oh, he's just in it at the end, but he plays like a major character.
Yay, Tom Everett Scott.
That was one of those sitting in the theater. I didn't know he was in. I just went, hey, good stuff, man.
And you know what? I don't even mind that we totally got off the movie to do that, because we need to remind the people at home.
I think that's
Tom Everett Scott is great. We love him. He deserves
Hollywood give him more work. He apparently just did something called Dolly Parton's Mountain Magic Christmas, a TV Christmas movie that he's better than. He shouldn't be doing that.
No.
Please, for the
Though
love of...
everything Dolly Parton touches is instantly blessed.
I will say, if you're gonna do things, that's a little bit better than the Hallmark thing, because this was like a NBC special. So that's a step up. It's not yet cable stuff.
Yes.
And having Dolly Parton does have some level of credence. Anyway, they go on this date, which is the worst, maybe one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in all of film.
All right, so here's the thing. The date is also accompanied by his buddies who are like, we're just going to keep tabs on you.
This also... And
maybe you'll get some points
off
Seraphine.
And this starts the many uses of the word boink in this movie, which... Man, that wasn't a thing even in 97. We weren't tossing around boink.
The 12 screenwriters, I guarantee you they were in their mid to late 40s writing this in 1997, and they were sitting there going, yeah, we know what the young people say. They say boink.
Yep. You gonna boink her?
They tell him he needs to be cool because the French people are cool. Put on these sunglasses. He's wearing a hat and sunglasses inside the cafe.
And earlier, when he went to her house, he was wearing a do-rag and baggy jeans. I wanted to kill him.
I think the do-rag was them trying to say he might still have a bandage on his head somewhere under there.
Sure, right, from that horrific head injury.
I know. What if this is a Jacob's Ladder scenario and then he actually didn't recover from that, and this entire movie is the experience.
I think you can guess.
Imagined.
I think you can guess who on a certain podcast posited that.
Yeah, well, I'm the Jason of this group.
You are the Jason of this group, even though I'm the one calling people dumb. So,
yeah, it's like, what's up, jerks? Anyway, so the date scene is horrible, and somebody who wrote this thought it was hilarious. The thing is, he's actually trying to have a decent date, but they've kind of sabotaged him. Because they put a note in his pocket that's like on a napkin,
and it says 100 points if you boink her.
And she's able to read that, and she's like, geez. And then she pointedly says, I don't date a lot because most men are only after me for sex. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, I'm not like that. And she's looking at the note, and then, And then he reaches into his shirt pocket, and I don't know what that is, because he pulls out and suddenly there are condoms all over the table, and she goes, really? You're not just...
Yeah, the idea that somehow from the pocket of his shirt can explode 40 condoms.
40 condoms.
Which, why does he have that many? That's insane.
And then you just, again, if you listen closely, still to this day, you can still hear the echoes of the screenwriter, one of the 12, patting himself on the back for this, where he gives Andy the thing of like, oh, no, that's just an American thing. It's a gag. They've started packaging chewing gum to look like condoms. That's just gum. And then she's like, oh, really? And she's about to open one and put it in her mouth. He goes, and he grabs it out of her hands before she can, and then pops it into his mouth.
And starts chewing it, and she goes, well, there's a thing in Paris that with gum that the bigger the bubble a guy blows, the more he likes a girl. And yeah. I was like, no, they won't, will they? Oh,
plus,
here's
the thing. I mean, why even waste brain energy? But you're sitting there going, like, if she was determined to show him up, there were 85 other condoms on the table for her to, oh, you got that one out of my hands. Now I'm going to open this one. But she patiently waits for him. She knows it's a real condom. Then he starts blowing the bubble, which, of course, is just a condom coming out of his mouth.
It's a condom coming out of his mouth. And then what is this man thinking when he keeps blowing it to the point that it then, of course, has to leap out of his mouth and balloon around the room and land
around the
in
cafe
a guy's
and ends
soup.
up in a guy's soup. Can you believe it?
I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard at this.
Another time where I had to pause it, and I did. I had to put a pillow over my mouth because I watched it so late. I was going to worry
the neighbors were banging on the wall going, hey, keep it. What are you doing? Watching American Werewolf in Paris in there?
And you're like, oh my God, they know.
Yeah. Oh, you must be watching the condom scene.
They did. They were like going, condom scene, am I right?
Here's the thing. I don't think the American Pie movies are the highest of wit, but this is beneath that. Wait, they would never do anything this lame in those.
That first American Pie is generally funny still, and has a lot of heart in it. And then it immediately became awful. But the first one is still very good.
Yes, I do have some. That's another one where I have problems with the male characters in it.
Sure. Oh, I'm not saying that it's a classic. I'm just saying.
No, but it's the thing where actually I do think the women are pretty strong in that movie, which is unusual for those. And I do think that's
they
a
do
saving
a lot
grace.
of weightlifting in it. There's a scene
very
where
strong.
I think Mina Suvari literally lifts a Volkswagen Bug over her head.
Yep.
They're very strong.
You do know that I interviewed Shannon Elizabeth at a Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right. And she said, please, God, don't bring up American Pie.
Well, actually, her management reached out to me about things not to mention beforehand, which I don't think anyone would mind me. No, and I wouldn't have, obviously. I mean, we talked about American Pie, but it was like, please don't ask about nude scenes. There's like...
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going, I wouldn't have, but also I believe that some moderators might.
But you're one of those guys who, when they tell you not to do a thing, even though you don't want to,
I've just got to, baby.
You did. Because I remember that panel, and I remember you starting with, I've seen your boobs. I thought that was a terrible way to start that panel.
She was, no, yes, of course. I did not do that. And she was lovely and actually very charming and funny on the panel. So, she's
well,
very
hey,
likable.
now, you're an all-star.
Yep, that's right. I got my game on.
Get your game on.
I'm going to go play.
Go play.
Yeah. Anyway. So they go on this. She's offended and runs off. Well, no, she's not offended and runs off. This guy starts trouble, and with her werewolf strength, she throws this guy across the cafe.
Yes.
Talk about a female lead who is doing her push-ups and weightlifting.
Because and then he runs out. He runs out. Man, you really took care of that guy.
He goes,
you must work out.
You must work out. Go to hell, movie. That is not even close to the word. Yeah, the movie. I mean, this is a movie. This is one of those movies that's so bad. It's not even like notoriously bad. It's just instantly erased from history, right?
Yes.
This is a movie that we're talking about, but no one's talking about this movie.
No,
and they shouldn't.
Other than podcasts that do bad movies, like you mentioned, We Hate Movies did it.
We Hate Movies did it, and How Did This Get Made?
And How Did This Get Made did it.
Yeah, and both funny episodes. I recommend both. I will say, weird thing about the How Did This Get Made one, none of them have seen London. All three of them
I remember that.
Had not seen it. So, much angrier episode from the We Hate Movies guys who are talking about how much they love London. And I do think this movie is bad, but it's particularly bad if you think about it trying to, in any way, connect to what is, I think, pretty much agreed the best werewolf movie ever made, right? I mean, is there really any other competition? Maybe The Wolfman purely for iconography.
And then Howling's
a very close second. We talked about it. It's pretty close, but London just edges it out because it's a better script.
Yeah.
But Howling is very good.
Howling.
And don't worry, folks. We got another Howling movie just around the corner.
Shit, man. God,
actually, not just around the corner. It's next season. But still, the fact that it continues into the 2000s. That franchise, man.
I can't wait for Dog Soldiers. Anyway.
Me too. That would be on my favorites. I do love Dog Soldiers.
And I'm not surprised that's the one my brother... Well, I was a little surprised. That's the one my brother wants to come on for.
Yes, we're going to have Robin on for that one. Let's see. So he chases her down and goes, come on, man. I'm not really like that. That's my idiot friends. They made me do that. I'm a nice guy. He says... what happens here? So she runs off. They go back to her house later that night. Creepy. I mean, creepy, right? Like, just take the rejection, man, and go. But no, Tom Everett Scott is just instantly like, this is the woman I love. I'm madly in love with her. Now, once again, luminous, gorgeous Julie Delpy. I get it, but not. I was going to say, I almost said not stalking worthy. Don't stalk anyone.
No, don't stalk anyone. She clearly has emotional issues, and that's not something to shame, and they are deserving of love. But maybe love from people that know her well. And also, not a guy who saved her from the Eiffel Tower, almost said Empire State Building. And then...
well, we'll get to New York later.
And then went to a cafe and fucking embarrassed himself at it. It's like, why is this a love affair?
That's the thing. There's a mutual attraction in London that works. Here, it is him just endlessly pursuing this woman until due to supernatural reasons, she's forced to take care of him.
Julie Delpy is, again, like you said, the best person in this, even though it's terrible. So she does indicate that were it not for her unique, weird state as a werewolf person, and that's the reason she's turning him away. She does find him charming. She's showing us that, and that's heavy lifting. But so, in other words, you do get the impression that she's only doing the whole stay away, get away because I'm a werewolf lady, not, hey, you're a stalkery American, I don't like you. It's, I like you, but we can never be together because I'm a werewolf lady.
Sorry, I just looked at this because I'm now realizing, and I'm going to distract us for just a second, but it's still on Julie Delpy. She has a Netflix show?
Does she?
She has a Oh, okay. Brandon, I think I found the thing to fill in the gap of the delight of your Korean lawyer show. This is a
I
Julie.
like the way it's now mine.
Yeah,
I own it.
This is a Julie Delpy created and starring comedy. It's her and Elizabeth Shue.
Oh,
and also got Giovanni Ribisi in it.
Okay,
this sounds pretty good about single women, or they're not all single women, but anyway, women going through midlife crisis in Los Angeles. And it's created by Julie Delpy and stars her and Elizabeth Shue. I can't believe I've never heard of this.
Me either. What's it called? You still haven't said
I'm sorry,
the name.
It is called On the Verge.
Okay.
And it's available on Netflix. And I'm sure it is infinitely better than this.
Is it her adaptation of Pedro Almodovar's Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown?
Oh, I don't know.
That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool. It seems like it's in that vein.
You want to watch something that's pretty decent, not amazing, but pretty decent, that is about a werewolf lady who would like to get close to somebody, but she can't because
I know where you're going with this, and I agree.
Wolf Like Me.
Wolf Like Me is, it's good. It's good. It's two very charming leads, and it's good.
It's very on the nose. Like, we get the points you're making. But she has baggage because she's a werewolf.
Unlike this, it thinks out some stuff, though.
It thinks out some stuff, and as you say, likable leads,
very likable
who
leads,
are allowed to be
likable,
human, naturalistic, not perfect, one way or the other. So relatable.
And that's the thing you're talking about. If you made this more her story, made Tom Everett Scott the Jenny Agutter stand-in, and just number one, just everything is when he needs to calm down. This thing is at an 11 the whole. I think that's watching it yesterday. I'm going. Everything, the comedy, the horror, everything is just bombarding you in this movie.
You can't handle the extremes that are 90s cinema. It's extreme.
I think I'm well stated as being quite the scholar and fan of 90s cinema. I love 90s cinema. I really think it was quite a golden age, but not this. I think it was a golden age for certain things. I'll point people to my scholarly essay about the genius of 90s thrillers. I really think it was a heyday for the thriller.
Man, Body of Evidence. Or is that 80s?
No, that's 90s. Abel Ferrara's Body of Evidence.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh, that's and then I'm going to talk about Jade.
Oh, God.
David Caruso in Jade.
Oh, man. I'm going to give up my sweet TV job that's getting me critical acclaim.
I love David Caruso.
Be a movie star.
I love David Caruso. He could have been a movie star, but fuck, he picked some bad ones.
Yeah, and also...
Don't quit the day job.
You could just tell that guy was full of ego.
Yeah.
You could just tell.
Yeah. Humbled by the time he's like, yes, I will do 11 years of CSI Miami. I'm happy to have a job again. Yeah. You never heard him complain about that.
No.
Thank God. Thanks for taking me back, Network TV.
Okay.
So anyway, they end up at her house, and this time, an evil French guy is there going, hello, how may I help you?
We're here to see Seraphine. Oh, you're Americans.
I love Americans. Is this Claude? This is Pierre Cassot as
Claude. I know.
Yes. And he goes, I love Americans. And then Tom Everett Scott do this. Are you her brother? And he goes, no, one could say I take care of her.
Yep.
Aren't we laughing at this? And he's like, gulp, he's boinking her.
Boinking.
You know what I was shocked by? This, and just because I was doing that voice, and boink is close to zoinks, how is Matthew Lillard not in this movie?
Oh my God! Of all the '90s people,
give me 2 years after this. If this was made in '99, this is Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard. I guarantee that's exactly what this is.
By the way, Matthew Lillard's parents came to Warner Brothers to take a tour while I was a tour guide there, and they were the sweetest people. And they were literally like, "Oh, we're so proud of Maddie," and they're like bringing out childhood photos, and I was like, "Yeah, I think he's really great."
So cute.
They were adorable, and just like,
and actually,
we can't believe
I will say, once again, nothing would have saved this movie. Lillard would be a lot better than either one of these douchebag friends, though.
I'm always happy to see him when he pops back up. I was very happy to see him in Twin Peaks because, for one thing, he did a great job.
He's great in the Alexander Payne movie, The Descendants, with Clooney.
Oh yeah, he is
great in that.
He's a good actor. I sit there going,
good actor,
but also his energy.
Yeah,
I mean, it has to be used well, but that guy, he's got a thing.
And actually, Scream was the year before this, and that energy is actually unsettling in that movie.
Even Skeet Ulrich is a little intimidating in that movie.
Dude, that's the best. That's the best Skeet Ulrich ever did, I think, in that movie.
I know.
And I because I like Skeet Ulrich, and Lillard is still working. This is what he's not even in this movie. I forgot he did have a recurring role on Bosch. Everybody's on my cop shows, is what I'm saying. Sooner or later, you don't watch as many of those as I do. So some of these people do.
Maybe I'll watch some Bosch.
Bosch is great, man. Bosch is really good.
That Titus Welliver is just a huge comic nerd.
Huge comic nerd, Titus Welliver.
All right, so
Claude goes, "You guys should come to this party tonight for Americans."
Yeah, they give...
And I'm happy to give this guy a awful French accent.
Oh, sure, as well you should. An outrageous French
because,
accent.
This guy you talk about just like, not just the character, but this actor makes no impression. Not only a nobody, you understand why he's a nobody. There is nothing interesting about this guy.
No.
It's really painful to watch.
But the flyer tells them, and they go, "Is Seraphine going to be at the party?" He goes, "Maybe she will be there.
Maybe. But what's important is fresh-blooded Americans."
Yeah, so...
And you immediately know where this is going, and we'll talk about the better version of this scene in a couple weeks when we talk about Blade.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which has
this isn't that scene yet, because this is just an introductory thing, and I don't think they lay waste to all these people.
Sure they do.
They start to change, but later we see them lay waste to a whole bunch.
Well, they at least get some people because the cop. This is where his friend's going to get killed.
Oh, that's right.
And the cops are going to show up.
And it is also where the random American guy who's got all the drinks, and then he shows up as a ghost later. Okay,
yeah. And the friend.
But anyway, they go to a place called the Club de la Lune.
Yeah.
Hey, is that perhaps the Moon Club?
Man, now that you mention it, wow, that's subtle. I didn't catch that. And did you catch the name of the church at the end of the movie too?
It's very subtle because it has a full moon painting on it too.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. Did you catch the name of the church at the end of the movie too?
No. What was it?
Saint Deloup.
Oh,
Saint Deloup.
Actually, I told you about my my vampire serial killer.
Yeah, I love that idea. I really wish that movie existed.
Movie.
Really wish that movie existed.
I named the parish that the detective guy came from in Louisiana was Saint Ailbe. Because Saint Ailbe actually is the patron saint of wolves. They actually have a patron saint.
This is the kind of thing we're talking about, and this is not. You're not tooting your own horn, going.
No,
but it's one more thought.
It's one more thought.
That's
one more step to be clever and not so clever that people instantly go like Club de la Lune, like,
yeah, Saint Deloup. I caught that and went, oh, fucking hell.
I didn't even see that, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me. That's as subtle as the rest of the movie.
That's the whole movie is like this, where you're going, I can't believe this is 12 drafts in, and probably more than 12 drafts, 12 writers.
Maybe it's better this one didn't lean on all the songs being about moon and
it would have been
wolves, because
that was very fun when Landis did it. It would be worse if they did it, because everything here,
everything is unsubtle.
That's the thing. That's all we ask. It comes back to this all the time on the show, right? Is just be, and we say be smart and stuff. We don't mean be intricate geniuses, because then that gets you into other territory like Shyamalan, where he's trying to outthink you, and I think that's the extreme the other way, where he's too clever. But just go, okay, this is the on the nose thing. What's one thought beyond that?
Yes.
And that's better,
one step clever,
and that will make you a level of quality above a lot of other movies, man. It really is.
When Landis layered his movie with all those references, I mean, obviously he knows that is really blatant. But the thing is, he is using that for acidic irony.
He really is.
It's and
brilliant.
There is no irony in this movie. This movie is expecting us to accept these characters at face value, and they are awful people. There's nothing there.
Well, that's it.
I don't like it.
As douchey and like crude as it is, it's also earnest in a weird way, which is not what people would immediately think, but it is. It's like, and I want to go, and your point is what?
Yeah.
What are you saying about werewolves at all? It's just nonsense. It's nonsense, folks. And a lot of it doesn't make sense. All right, anyway, let's get to some. So Tom Everett Scott and one of the friends go, we're going to go to the club. How about you circle back and hang out at the house, other guy?
Which actually, that is what allows other guy to survive, I guess. Well, he does get captured here, but
it's a weird thought to go, well, if Seraphine shows up back at the house, you should be there to meet her. What?
It is weird, yeah. I mean,
and
that's true.
And he's like, cool, bro, I'll miss out on this party and go stand in front of a house. What?
Well, he does more than stand in front of it. He goes creeping and pulling out shrubbery and stuff because he's like, there's a light from the basement window.
Is locked in a cage.
Seraphine is locked in a cage. He beats on the window and shows himself. She recognizes him as Andy's friend. She's like, go away. And he's like, dude, you need help.
She's actually being a responsible werewolf. Once again, Oz style. Learn from the best, Seth Green. Which actually would have been premiering right at the same time. I think that's also a piece of it. All of this is in that Scream, Buffy. But this movie isn't doing... It's interesting. This movie is being goofy, but it isn't being referential. I would actually... Well, I don't know if I would like it anymore, but it's not being clever. Like Scream is funny, but it's clever, and it's playing on tropes.
Again,
like Buffy.
That's the thing. It's being smart versus being stupid. And this is just stupid.
Halloween H2O is really like the horrible Scream version of Halloween. Like that movie, I don't know if it can be overstated just what a bomb that was to this genre. Like it just exploded and everything became, that's how we make horror movies now.
Oh no, Scream was a new template. It was a new template, and everyone decided everything had to be Scream because it made crazy.
I rewatched the first Scream, I think last year when they put out a 4K of it. That thing holds up too. It's still really fucking clever. There's some 90s-ish about it, but like I said, it's used better, and it actually feels like, this is kind of commenting on the 90s in a way. And it's a good script. It's smart.
I might do a rewatch of that series since there's new stuff coming out.
I think all of them, and there's a hierarchy there of some are better than others, but all of them have a base level cleverness that I enjoy.
Sure.
So
we have to get back to something we don't. So sorry, buddy.
So anyway, he goes in there. He goes into the basement.
Yep.
And she's like, once again, Julie Delpy in this movie. None of this movie would happen if they just listened to her, and she's going, for the love of God, you're all in danger. Just stay away. Don't get involved.
I appreciate that your friend has a crush on me.
Yeah.
But get the fuck out of here. Go back to America.
And so once again, it's another movie. If only some dumb men listened to a woman who's being reasonable, nothing bad would happen.
Preach, sister.
It's the Alien thing, right? Alien is about a movie about a smart woman who tells everyone the right thing to do. No one listens to her, and then they all die, and she escapes with her cat.
There you go.
It's true.
Jonesy.
Jonesy. Love Jonesy. So glad Jonesy made it. Really, that was like the biggest sweat in that movie to me. So she, and then he goes, well, yeah, no, they all went to this party, and she's like, oh fuck, they went there. Okay, now you have to let me out because I have to go save them.
Right. And we're cutting back to the party, and it seems like just a normal.
They're
terrible...
all drinking bright green. Is this supposed to be absinthe?
If it is, man, that one guy would be dead.
It's true.
Because
the only liquor I can
glasses.
Yeah.
You don't fucking fill red Solo cups.
The only liquor I can think. I mean, it's probably a mixed drink. It's probably apple.
I mean, it's a mixed drink. Yeah, it's something like apple teeny.
Yeah, but the only like booze that has that color would be absinthe.
Or you put in food coloring. It could just be beer with food coloring. But
yeah, because it's St. Patty's Day while we're at it.
Well, later they do have an Independence Day party for the Americans.
For the July party for the Americans.
Oh, American in Paris. I'd rather watch that too.
Well, we actually talked about that last week.
That's right.
If you mistakenly watch that, have a good time, folks.
Yeah.
That movie's great.
Man,
of course
you're so much luckier.
Yeah. So yeah, they're drinking and everybody's but it's not even. It doesn't even seem like a fun party. They're in this like
it's in a basement thing.
Yeah. So even before the werewolves get involved, I'm like, I'm out of here, man. Everybody's weird and
essentially the werewolves, because they're intercutting. Seraphine's saying they're in trouble. We need to go help them, and they'll cut back to the party, and you see the skinheady type ones that Claude or whatever his name was is part of.
Yeah,
they circle up and they're like,
can we talk about what is gain from making them neo-Nazis? Other than it's just just generally reads as they're even worse than just werewolves. They're Nazi werewolves. And is it...
Hey, there were Nazi werewolves in the first one.
I was going to say, is it a slight reference to that? I don't know.
I mean, in the case of that, the only reason there were Nazi werewolves is it was a vision that David had. So there weren't really Nazi werewolves as a vision.
And being a Jewish guy, he was...
Because he's Jewish, he saw the figures of evil in Nazi clothes killing his family.
It makes sense in a subconscious sort of.
I will say in the 90s there was an undercurrent, and in Europe, and it's still true, of neo-Nazism and skinheads.
But if I want to talk about that, I'll go watch American History X or Romper Stomper.
Right.
Or what's
and
the one
also,
with Gosling?
If you want to include that as being what is connecting this pack of werewolves, that they have this philosophy, then the movie should be about that. It should address that instead of just being a cast off like, yeah, they don't like outsiders or weak people or ethnic people, and they're werewolves.
Yeah.
Just like, what the fuck is the point?
The Believer.
They could have been rich douchebag werewolves. That could have been an interesting take too.
Sure.
But no.
That's the other one, The Believer with Gosling.
Oh, The Believer, sure.
Yeah. Those are all serious portraits of it. This movie is just using it as just code for bad guy. Yep. Once again, it's not bad enough they're werewolves. They're Nazi werewolves.
So they start to early transform just as...
Julie Delpy shows up. And I love this. Just pulls out Tom Everett Scott. Fuck the other guy, man.
Yeah, fuck the friend. And truly.
He gets fucked. Dead, man. Yeah, he is fucking dead.
He is dead and dumped in the river.
Jesus Christ. So let's see. Meanwhile, the friend in the basement, she locked him in the cell, so it's like, don't do anything else. I don't need another guy running around out here.
Yeah,
so
this
I'll
was
lock
to
you
protect him, but he starts taking off his clothes. Best scene in the movie.
Yeah, when he initially started taking off his clothes, I thought, what the hell? Oh, okay, I see.
Actually, I was too. And then they did the shot to the key.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
But
so he has turned his clothes into...
Because he's such a horn dog, I thought, obviously, he's like somehow thinking this is going to be a sex thing. She comes back.
Dude, and he's so horned up.
She comes back to the cell.
In a French chateau basement makes me just...
She comes back to
Rock
cell,
hard.
and he's just violently masturbating. What? I didn't know how long you were gonna be. No,
you are horrible. All Americans are horrible.
I mean, I can't blame her.
He's turned his clothes into a catching device, like a rope.
Yeah.
He tosses out.
Yeah.
Then he throws his shoe at the key.
This is as MacGyver as this guy's gonna get.
Yeah, he knocks the key loose, and it does land perfectly on his rope of clothes, and he pulls it back in and unlocks himself.
Yeah.
And then he hears some growling.
He hears some growling, and he looks.
We need to point out, we did see earlier in the basement, in addition to the cell, we hear every time we're down there, like medical equipment going beep, 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 and there's like a curtained off thing.
There's a hospital curtain, yeah.
And now we hear growling. It turns out there is a I guess it's very good. There's a what would you call him?
Amputee?
An amputee werewolf, I guess. And he's strapped to the
hospital
bed.
I have to say is the coolest design in the movie.
It kind of is, because it's totally practical.
Yes.
And also, it is a good WTF moment. And
it's new. It's a new thing. It's a new thought in a werewolf movie of the amputee werewolf. I was like, ooh. Once again,
he can't really escape from the bed, but he's able to turn it over, and he starts crawling forth with just his claws on the floor, coming at the doof. And then the doof does some daredevil parkour.
Whoa, bro!
Oh!
Sick.
It's totally sick. And then he bounds out of that basement window like a badass.
Yeah, bro. So glad I'm a
totally
daredevil.
Dan Cortezing the fuck out of this movie.
You can't not think about Dan Cortez in this movie. These guys are so in the mold of Dan Cortez.
This guy specifically.
This guy really is a Dan Cortez stand-in. In fact, I can't believe this isn't Dan Cortez.
I can't believe it's not Butter, but that's also I have a terrible sense of taste.
Because it does actually remind me of the Seinfeld episode Dan Cortez was in, where he is a douchey daredevil guy.
Yep.
Tony, the
It always
himbo.
goes back to Seinfeld for you.
It really does. All of life is summed up in that show. It kind of is, actually. That's only a half joke. I do think that show so expertly gets into the foibles and specificities of life. All right.
The specificities of a very specific New York kind of life.
Well, yeah, the kind of life I lead as a non-Jewish Portlander, but feel like I'm a Jewish New Yorker inside.
There you go.
Inside, I am a Larry David type. So she gets him out of there. They're running through the tunnels.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
They're in the sewers. And she's like, quick, you got to get out of here. And you're hearing the party go nuts as people are getting torn apart. And then out of nowhere, the friend just goes, where you guys going? The party's just kicking off. Jesus Christ. I guess he did deserve to die.
Yeah, well, he
gets torn up.
He gets torn up real good.
Yeah. And then Julie Delpy basically in the tunnels goes, I saved you, now you need to go. And he's like, well, come with me. I mean, I don't even know out here, but come with me. She's like,
for the love of God.
And then her voice is changing. It's like, you need to go now, Andy. You need to go now.
She turns into Chris Farley from that sketch where he's like, lay off me, I'm starving. Where he's the lady at the, I love that. I thought you were on a diet. Lay off me, I'm starving.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And she starts to change, and it's a combo at the very beginning of
like I said, the
prosthetic.
The first prosthetic, I went, ooh, are they gonna? Oh no.
She tears open her shirt. That's for you, fellas. And hair's sprouting.
Oh, isn't it sexy when she has more nipples than she should?
And the camera does pan down as she's tearing off her pants too. The hair is sprouting. Yeah. Now it's all CG. Then she's literally a doggy. Yeah. She's a big old doggy and a terrible looking big old dog.
Terrible. All the werewolves in this movie look awful.
They look awful.
Awful.
Design, conception, creation. They all.
But like we said, it's the least of the problems.
Yep.
We well, we would harp on it, but we would at least move past it if the movie was good.
Yeah.
But instead, it's
Guess what?
Nope.
It's not.
It's not. So he's chased through tunnel. Tom Scott is chased through the tunnel by a werewolf.
Yeah.
We don't know what one because that'll be a mystery, except we all know what it isn't.
We all know.
And his leg gets scratched.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I know what happened to Larry Talbot, so he gets Talboted.
His dad had to put him down with a cane.
He got Talboted. It's unfortunate. It happens.
He got Talboted. Oh, that means he's going to end up being a doughy American who's constantly morbidly depressed and overweight.
I wish I was dead. Give me that bourbon.
Please kill me.
He is so long. He is so long dead by where we are in this show, and yet we're still bagging on the alcoholism.
I know.
Oh, jeez. Terrible actor. We love him, but
man.
he's awful. He's iconic, but not good.
Got that job by a name. That's really all it is. I'm sorry. Though he was really good in Of Mice and Men.
And actually, he's really good.
I will give him that.
He's really good in parts of the Wolfman movies. Yeah. But anything else? Son of Dracula?
Oh, boy.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, my lunch came back up on me, actually, as we mentioned.
Is that the movie where we're introduced to a gentleman named Alucard?
Alucard. Now, what is it about that name? Can someone get me a mirror?
I don't know.
Anyway, he gets knocked out because he's going to wake up in Julie Delpy's house as she's just, here's another example for doot, 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 doot. Here it's morning. And, how is there not a...
kind of like, she's wearing, I mean, I guess French people could wear football jerseys, and she looks adorable in one, but I'm like, where's that football jersey coming from? But,
one of her victims.
It's an American football jersey.
One of her victims.
One of her victims. And she's wearing... this is, heads up, all you guys out there who might end up being werewolves, a very nice clear plastic apron on top of it, because you don't want to get messy when you're putting human hearts in a blender.
I do like Put My Tender Heart in a Blender.
And now that you mention that, it's a wonder that song isn't in there.
Watch it spin round to a beautiful oblivion.
Now, when did that song come out? Are we jumping the gun?
Oh, we might. It's damn close, though, right? Like, Eve 6, by the way, a band I mainly like because they were an X-Files reference in their name.
What if Eve 6 got the idea for that song from an American Werewolf?
The band was formed in 95. Let's see. When did that song come out, though? That's a good question. What is that song?
Rendezvous and I'm through with you.
Yeah. Like I said, I did 98? Maybe
They did. They based it on this movie.
Yeah. I did really love them, though. They were exactly the kind of rock band I was looking for at that time.
What, you didn't like come on, they did Tent Pole Sitter.
Oh, yes. I don't remember.
Harvey Danger.
Ah,
you didn't
yes.
love me some Harvey Danger. They were clever.
The other band I'm surprised didn't do a song in this, and they're a Portland band, Everclear.
Everclear, of course. Yeah. Why aren't they on this thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were a Portland band.
They started here, yeah.
Oh, good for Everclear.
Yeah. They were always okay.
Yeah.
I mean, all these bands we're talking about, aside from like Smash Mouth, which I find absolutely irritating, and Limp Bizkit, but a lot of these bands were like totally fine.
Totally fine.
Yeah, because
they were going to have their little window of fame, and then they would be playing state fairs in 15 years.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, we got President of the United States. I'm also surprised isn't in
here. Come on. They're great.
Yeah, I buy it.
She's long.
Yeah.
She's long. Yeah. She's in my head.
Yeah, how is that not in here, actually? That one seems like it would be in this movie, too. I mean, what I love is as many songs in this movie, we could come up with 800 more songs that should be in this movie.
Yep.
Because it's so, yeah. And this is before we get to the eventually we get to Jimmy Eat World and stuff a couple years after this. And
Jimmy.
That's the kind of music I remember was in the movies that were like the teen movies of my era.
Of course.
Because this is a little bit before I'm in high school when this comes out.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, that's heavily Letters to Cleo. They do like 4 songs in that movie. Which was
actually the subtitle is the Letters to Cleo movie.
I actually like that movie and like that music better though. Okay, so
I'll allow it, counselor.
Yeah, so she comes in,
careful.
and I love.
Watch
He goes, "What happened last night?" She goes, "Drink this." No, but like, what happened? I don't remember. Drink this, because she comes in with her bloody heart milkshake,
a blood heart milkshake in his face, and he's like, "Yeah, but can we talk about what happened first?" And she goes, "Okay, here's the thing. You're a werewolf now, and I'm so sorry."
She just rips that Band-Aid off, man.
Yeah, she's like, "You got scratched. You're a werewolf, but I will take care of you. I'll see you through it. We'll get you there." And he's like, "You're crazy." And then she goes, "You're just upset. Here, this will calm you down." She takes off her shirt and puts hands on her boobs.
Insane. You can see this. It's one of the photos on IMDb. You can see this, and it's insane. It's insane.
Now, here's the thing. I often dream of like a second date with a girl where she just, while I'm asleep, mounts me because she's literally straddling him and then telling him he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
And then calming me by putting my hands on her bare breast.
Well, that
has not happened yet.
It has not happened yet. No, and you know what? Weirdly, it's never happened to me either. And I know it's such a common experience.
It's a common experience, which is why they put it in this movie. It's like a universally relatable
This
thing.
is the thing I'm talking about, though, when it's such an immature idea of sex, where it's just like, here, touch boobs.
Yeah. That's a t-shirt. Here, touch boobs.
But it is sort of the thing where it's like, I probably did, as like a 12-year-old or whatever, think this was sexy, because it's about all you know of sex at that age, right? It's just, I want to touch boobs.
I would say if I saw this at 12, I would be like, best scene ever.
That's
I was a little bit older than 12 when this came out.
Yeah. But it is sort of
I was on the edge of 17, just like the song says.
How is that not in here? No, that would never be in here.
No, that wouldn't.
No, they would never.
Classy. It's too classic.
Yeah, and it's old, man. That's old people music.
That's old people music.
Blah, come on. Yuck. So insane that and that this goes on for. I mean, I will say, not the worst day on set for Tom Everett Scott. That is had to spend an entire day. Although it would be, I think it would lose its luster pretty quick. That it's hours of just having to place your hands on a woman's breast.
Well, that's the thing, because this scene is barely long, and then it is interrupted by a weird dream sequence on top of this happening.
This is the weirdest thing in this movie. I mean,
it's a weird turn.
It's so weird.
So even if it was a scene they did in one take, it's still like 5 minutes of hands on boobs. It's probably sweaty hands on boobs.
You know what? It's got to be like Martin Freeman in Love Actually.
Oh, sure, yeah, the whole thing. Yeah.
Or it's just sort of like, so what are you doing later? Oh, okay. That's
cool.
And
you know that a 5-minute scene did not take 5 minutes to shoot. So
this is probably a whole day.
So that could have been an all afternoon.
Yeah, all right.
And we're sitting there going, I'm sorry, Julie. Yeah. I'm sorry. This is awkward. And she's like, it's no problem, I'm French.
Well, it's no problem.
That's a stereotype.
It is a stereotype, but I mean, having seen other movies, she certainly has not been afraid to do nudity. But this isn't even about nudity; it's the awkwardness of the physical.
It's the opposite of what sexiness should be.
Because like I said, the scene goes on long enough that I'm going, geez, he just had to hold her boobs for a long time.
Yep. And she's delivering exposition.
Yeah, but then he's not even playing. It's just sort of like, we're going to continue this conversation as if this isn't happening to a certain extent.
Right,
Weird.
and he literally is, again, this is not allowing him to be a good character or one we like. Because
they never allow that.
Yeah, of course. But he literally is sitting there kind of mocking her and just like going, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Now, true, it'd be weird if someone said, no, you're a werewolf now. But he doesn't handle it in any way.
And she keeps just trying to get him to drink that heart juice, though.
Yeah.
Come on.
Does he ever? Even at the end of the scene when he leaves the bedroom.
He does not, because he's scared by a ghost and jumps out a window.
Right. The ghost is the ghost of her mother.
Which, okay, this gets into some weird stuff about ghosts in this world, right?
Yeah.
So I understand this idea that your victims follow you around. That's established rules from the previous movie.
Except I will say, Jack was not killed by David.
No, but he was because it was killed by the wolf that turned David. So he carried over that, which is weird.
Yeah, this is loose. I found it interesting that
because then
apparently all werewolves can see all other werewolves' victims.
That's what I was going to get to. Is weird. Why can he see the mother?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird because I understand this idea that you are sort of carrying the souls of who you killed, or in the parlance of the first movie, possibly sort of the lineage of the murders that the curse inside of you. But that movie really paints it as a werewolf jumps from person to person. This movie does the sequel thing of now there's a bunch of werewolves and a crazy werewolf serum. And this is the thing where I'm going, dude, you've so far left the... you didn't see it because you didn't read the trivia. In one of the drafts, in fact, it's something they shot and cut even, actually, you find out that this group of werewolves, one of them was the wolf that killed Griffin Dunne and attacked. That you were going to find out that all the werewolves were part of this werewolf society.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, it doesn't
matter.
No,
I mean, that's another thing where it's like, why do the movies always feel the need to tie the villain and the hero's origins together when they do a comic book thing?
Yeah.
When you're like, in the comics, they have individual origins and then they meet and fight. But the whole thing of like, no, Jack Napier killed the Waynes. I'm like,
yeah, it's all screenwriting logic, right? Where they go like, well, this makes sense because it just makes everything cleaner, and it's like, well, actually, it makes the world smaller and weird. Like, it makes it all. Yeah, it's a thing where like efficiency is actually working against you.
I love Batman 1989.
I do too.
Literally, you would think that after he has killed his parents' killer, he would have just hung up that suit and be like, done.
It's kind of the thing. It's the thing I love, and now we're talking about Batman. But I'll just say it's the thing it's one of my favorite moments, and what I think is pretty good actually. The Jeff Johns Batman Earth One. Did you read that?
Yes.
I love the end of that when he thinks he's tracking this whole conspiracy that killed his parents, and at the end he realizes it wasn't part of a conspiracy. And Alfred says, well, now that you know the truth, you can stop. He goes, no, Alfred, now I can never stop. Yeah. And I thought, nailed it, Jeff Johns. That guy knows how to write comics. But I thought, that's perfect. There is no explanation. There is no solution that ties this up for me. So I just have to
In a similar way, I was always happy with the idea that other than knowing Joe Chill killed his parents, he never actually brings them to justice.
Right.
It's always a thing of he can never get that closure. So he'll always just fight. Because all crime is Joe Chill to him. Yes. All of it.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like, yeah, he can never
And actually,
stop
that's something I thought Nolan did a good job with, where he gets out of jail and then is assassinated by the mob, and it's this empty thing where it's like the guy's dead, but like he's just a symptom of a bigger problem.
Yep.
That's a nice thing, and I'll stop talking about it both for the sake of the show and because I'm about to say something bad about Nolan, but I like to say nice things about Nolan's Batman movies from time to time.
Okay. All right.
I have my issues. But he did some good stuff.
Moving
on. Boy, Batman came up, so that was trouble. Anyway,
so
he sees who is supposed to be.
Extremely embarrassing scene.
He's supposed to. This ghost is supposed to be Jenny Agutter, I guess. She's a British nurse, and he's like, "Oh my God, she's a corpse!" And he literally leaps out a window because he's got wolf powers now.
I guess
that doesn't make any sense.
You know what he could have done? Gotten up and walked out of the other side.
Yeah, I don't know why it had to be this whole thing.
Down some stairs, walked out the front door.
Because she's this movie once again. It is like a lot of sequel stuff, right? Where you go like, oh, the people like the Griffin Dunne corpse thing in that first movie. Let's do that with 4 different characters.
Yeah, let's have many of them.
Yeah, and it's like
they did. Like I said, they came up with an interesting twist on it, but I still didn't like it.
No, because
they did it so dumb.
Well, and nobody's doing as good a job as Griffin Dunne, who is great. Griffin Dunne is an amazing actor.
I do love an American Werewolf in London when the scene towards the end when he's in the movie theater and Griffin Dunne's like, hey, David, I'm still your buddy, and I hope everything turns out right. And he's like, those guys over there, and he's pointing out all the other victim ghosts, and they are all shooting eye daggers at him. And that's the thing. It's like, of course, they're not going to be happy. In this, they do this cartoon thing of having a Beetlejuice-esque ghost follow him around, like trying to walk him into traffic so he'll die. It's kind of clever. She's taking an active role.
It's an interesting idea, once again, but it's not executed in any kind of interesting manner.
No, it's not executed well. And
again,
it's terrible. You feel so embarrassed.
Believe it or not, it's terrible.
Believe it or not, this is a big pile of shit.
Yeah, this movie's really guys, do you get the sense this movie's really bad? Write in. I can't tell. Is this good?
At this point in our season, they're sitting there going like, they hate everything. They hate everything.
And I will say, it might still be the case for the next couple weeks. But
I actually, again, I'm not quite sure what's up. You'll tell me at the end.
I will. I don't think it's going to get better, is the answer.
Okay. All right.
So he goes, well, I better go back and see where that party was. So he goes there, and now it's a taped off crime scene that he, of course, is just able to walk right into. He's walking amongst cops are walking by him,
and he can just climb up the Eiffel Tower anytime he wants to.
Yeah, this, if anything, you know what? There is some satire. It's about the hubris of Americans.
Yeah, man, they just think they own the whole world.
So yeah, he's walking around. And he sees them. Of course, he shows up at the exact moment they're pulling his friend's body out of the water, so he can see that.
I did find that hilarious because it's literally the same second they're pulling it. And French detective comes up and goes, do you know him? And he just goes, yeah.
Know him?
Yeah, it's my friend.
Oh, I am terribly sorry for your loss.
We will now question you.
Yeah, that's right. Did you do all this? Somehow.
Did you do the murder?
Yeah. And so, they question him and they go, do you take drugs? And he goes, no, I don't. Test him for drugs anyway. He lies.
Yeah.
But also, what would that even matter? You really think you found a bunch of torn apart bodies and even a drugged up American college student or whatever is like, he did it. Amazing detective work.
Because he is, how you say, American. I mean, I like that we see him satirizing us. That's American satirizing Americans, I guess.
Yeah. We see him questioned, and then he's pretty quickly just let go with no explanation. It's like, I guess we don't have anything, so on you go.
On you go. I guess you did not tear him apart limb from limb.
Terrible. I thought I almost had him. I almost had him confessing. Damn. Because he's like, my tummy's rumbling, though, so I better go and get some food. So we see him in a restaurant, and he's demanding, no, this steak isn't rare enough. I said bloody. And you have a waiter going, ugh. And of course,
then he says, no, that's all right. I'll just eat it. And he grabs it off the plate, and then he's literally eating it with his hands and tearing into it while everyone stares at him. You're a freak.
Yep. And then he sees, check it out. It is the absolutely stunning Julie Bowen. Once again, you're not gonna. I don't discount this initial reaction. She's stunning then and now.
You know what? She's absolutely gorgeous, and this is '97 Julie Bowen. So
just after Happy Gilmore. Which is definitely where my obsession with her started, and then continuing.
But here's the thing: is that you would understand this attraction, obviously, on a physical level, because she turns out to be a nightmare person.
Yeah, well, she turns out to be an insane person that doesn't exist in reality, right? Like,
right? Yes,
that's the thing.
Because also, if you met this gentleman this way, you wouldn't have to know if he's a werewolf or not. Just the way he's acting. Well, if you were not insane yourself, you'd say, I'm going very far away from
It's a thing
Instead, he's amused by it.
It's a thing I hate in movies and TV and stuff where in order for the plot to be developed, a person has to be insane. To the degree that no one is.
Different.
That no one is.
They do show that she's already been drinking quite a bit. So is this just she's drunk and she's okay with any of this stuff?
Even that's flimsy, but I could see them trying to argue that.
But here's the thing that drives me crazy is later on, the friends, when he's trying to convince them he's a werewolf or whatever, and he goes, they're like, "You're different, man. Something's going on with you." They said, "Because you'd never go for a pit bull like that."
Yeah.
They're commenting about Julie Bowen's character and saying, "You must be going through something because you'd never go after." And I'm like, "You mean that extremely attractive blonde who, granted, is acting like a lunatic, but I think most heterosexual men would go after a pit bull like that."
And the thing that's interesting is this is the year after Happy Gilmore, and this is such a huge come down from being the lead in a major comedy. That and that's the other thing too, that and I do think they do try to give
tiny part.
They do try to make her funny in this, but one of the things that is so attractive to me about Julie Bowen is she's funny too. She's very funny. And this
she's funny, and she usually plays smart characters.
She does.
And this is her playing a bimbo.
That's another thing. I feel like she's really miscast in this. This is like a Tara Reid role.
Oh my God, yes.
In fact, I'm actually shocked that's not who's playing this once again.
But she's also an ugly American at this restaurant. Well, and she doesn't know the language. She's like,
thought it was
I would like un bottle of that shit over there. And
well, and I for a while I thought, is this also a fantasy based on the way she's acting? Like, we're going to pull out and she's really disgusted by him and this has all been a dream?
Oh.
Because she's acting
too much credit.
Oh, I am, because she's acting like no human being has ever acted. And not even the people in this movie are acting like this. Her performance is way broader.
They make eyes across the restaurant, and then he does this is common to werewolf movies. The senses are kicking in, and he's like... And he smells her.
Oh, God.
And then, oh, my God, he gets down on the floor.
Yeah.
He crawls across the floor, and then he puts his head up under her very short skirt, sniffing like a dog. And somehow she thinks this is adorable.
Well, at first she's like, wait, what are you? And he's like, and then he says something. She goes, hey, wait a minute. Are you an American? And for some reason, that's a turn on, even though you'd think an American woman in France would be more turned on by a foreigner than wow, a guy I'd meet anywhere.
I came all this way to meet someone from my own country, and that makes me horny. Yeah, it's weird. And that scene is so embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
Tom Everett Scott and her.
This is embarrassing. And actually, this entire sequence is embarrassing for both of them.
I know. And I actually read, now I did read some trivia. Yeah. They did have an on-set counselor just for these two actors to deal with their feelings about the scene.
They should have, man.
Should have.
It's interesting. Like I said, he's just going like, I don't know, man. What does he say? There's another quote from him in the trivia that's pretty good too, where like he's talking about his memory of it. He goes, I definitely remember running around in my underwear doing some crazy stuff in that. Yeah, he goes, that's about, if I'm asked to recall, that's about as much as I remember.
He's got this sort of like, it's not a block. It's just like, you know what? It's just blend together. He's remembering all the times he was not on set. Yes. He's remembering like, oh, I went to this really awesome restaurant. Or, oh, me and my friends, we went to go see a play. Or whatever.
That's it exactly. I have fond memories from that movie that have nothing to do with shooting that movie.
Yes. He's like, I had never been to France. It was great.
Yeah, it was super nice, and I had a bunch of good food and whatnot. And he also apparently proudly did his own stunts in this, too.
Well, I mean, yay.
Sure, great. But, yeah, and then the only Julie Bowen quote is just about how awful the makeup process was.
I can imagine. Yeah. Because, all right, here, basically, this is an immediate hookup. And
they go to another restaurant.
Yeah, Andy is just not acting normal. He's not the Andy that we know and love because he's acting real horned up and aggressive.
It seems like the more insane he acts, the more she's into him.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, you can't stop staring at my boobs, can you, lover boy? Oh, you."
Well, because they keep doing these moments where he is staring at her boobs, and she notices, and you think it's going to be like, "You pig" or something like that. Instead, she's like,
"Oh, you are naughty, mama."
And then all it asks me, it just makes me go, I need to know so much more about what's wrong with this woman.
Yeah,
I have a lot of questions about what her damage is.
Yes. Basically, she's like, you want to get out of here, and
let's go have sex on Jim Morrison's grave.
Morrison's grave.
Let's go. And of course, you got her going, I love Jim Morrison. You're like, no, you don't.
She actually calls him Jimmy.
Jimmy,
Morrison.
yeah.
So that's an indication
there
that
you
he
go.
doesn't know.
Everything about what she's saying tells me you've never heard a Single Doors song.
Right. But they start having sex, and wouldn't you know it, not only is he aggressive, she's like, wow, you're wild. He starts to turn into a werewolf.
Well, he starts to get hot. Really hot,
right,
which is
That's
back to the first movie once again.
Pops off the shirt and he's like, ah, and she goes, wow, you're aggressive and you're so hot. And then she goes, no, I mean, you're really hot.
You're actually burning up, like you're burning me with your skin.
And then so he runs. He gets off her and runs into a fountain.
I love this because the first movie is so famous for its werewolf transformations. Here's one where you don't even see it happen.
This was in the trailer. I actually remember this. The shot of the werewolf blasting out of the fountain, they actually included in the trailer.
They want to lead with that because it's awful.
It's awful, but I guess it's a jump scare moment. So, boom, werewolf comes out and he kills her.
Yes. Well, no, he chases her around for a while. She tries to mask her scent by spraying her perfume in the air.
Okay, I do want to talk about that.
Because I did think poor Julie Bowen having to do the, I'm running from a monster, which is, par for the course for a lot of actresses in horror movies, but yikes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. She has been shown to be an idiot and a drunk idiot.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there going like, no. Any human being, even an intelligent one, even say myself, if a werewolf suddenly leaps at me, I actually probably am not going to think of ways to throw him off my scent.
I know that was
running stupidly.
I did have that thought.
But they have her pulling out a perfume and leaving a false trail of perfume.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then
he catches her and kills her.
He does catch her and kill her. The French cop is here.
Yeah, the French cop. He gets killed too.
And then there's a dog because we find, and now we got to once again retread the first movie. They find Tom Everett Scott naked with this dead dog, the most hilariously dead dog, by the way.
It's something you would have gotten at Build-A-Bear, and they flattened it out.
It's a stuffed dog they flattened out, so the dog is dead with all of its legs splayed out.
Yeah, and another detective is holding it up by the tail, and they're like going, "We're gonna book him on suspicion of murder," and they go, "And whatever else he got up to," and they're holding the dog like, "Wow, he must have been up to some crazy shenanigans."
He fucked a dog to death, is what this guy is thinking.
That's basically the implied, yeah.
Hilarious. Once again, that's about what we're dealing with in this whole movie.
This movie is a huge W. Every minute is win. This is win, win, win.
Non-stop scares, non-stop laughs. That's my poll quote. Use it.
Yeah. Go back to 1997. Drop that for me.
Yeah. Non-stop scares, non-stop laughs. By the way, I know this will come as a surprise. Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs down on this one.
What?
I watched their review. Yeah, 2 thumbs down. They didn't care for this.
They were already so stodgy old men by that point.
Could you?
They just didn't get the extreme 90s.
I did look up this movie's Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah.
7%.
Oh.
7%. That's pretty bad. Yeah, this does feel like one that should get a 0, but and I think this is one too where it's like even if you look at the positive, it's like the faintest of.
See, here's the thing. I watched Troll 2, and I'm laughing all the way through it.
Yes.
I enjoy watching Troll 2.
Yeah.
And it is one of the worst films ever made.
We've covered some movies on here like this. Yeah.
Hilarious. So I didn't enjoy watching this movie. So I think it deserves lower scores than those supposedly worst films ever made.
I 100% agree. There's nothing to enjoy here. By the way, the only fresh score, this is going to hurt, Brendan, comes from the Austin Times. It does come from a Texas newspaper.
I'm not related to the Austin Times. It's okay. I'm surprised it's the Austin Times and not the Houston Chronicle, because at least Austin has all the cool.
I know.
College.
Although
kids
I will say,
would hope would be smart.
This is the highest rated score that takes it to a fresh 2.5 stars. So, and that is being generous. That is being generous.
That is.
Yeah. Although
I'm going to go on Letterboxd later to log that I watched it.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna get no star.
Uh-oh. This guy, one of the points...
Maybe a half star because Julie Delpy is gorgeous.
This guy does mention one of his positives is Julie Delpy's breasts.
Oh. Well, I wanted to be more specific or more vague as she's beautiful.
Well, also, I will say, there are other better movies where she takes her top off.
Yeah, that's right. It's
like, watch Killing Zoe.
Criteria.
If that's the criteria, you can get a good movie too. If you're gonna be
for the Killing Zoe, I think she's topless.
She is, yes.
She's not topless in any of the befores.
That's not true.
I think Linklater was like,
that's not true. You haven't seen the third one. And I'm not joking. There is a very and it got a plot at the time. There is a scene where she and Ethan Hawke are arguing, and she is like getting ready for bed and just has her top off.
It's just a naturalistic,
right? It is sort of like in a Cassavetes sort of manner of just like we're just seeing people under. It's not sexual, but it's actually is a good scene because you don't see that in movies.
Just like when you watch
Shortcuts.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I knew where that was going. Same thing.
Yeah, where you've got Julianne Moore and she's just talking to her sister. She's changing clothes.
Yeah.
It's not sexy, but you're like, wow, there's bottomless Julianne Moore.
That is the kind of nudity I want to see more of. People are just being casually naked in things where it's almost like, oh, this is just
I will say,
matter of fact.
How many people really get naked, even casually, in front of their, siblings?
No, I mean, it should also make sense. That's all.
I don't drop trow in front of my brother.
Nope, believe it or not, yeah.
Okay.
I just gotta change my pants, bro. Hope you don't mind.
Jesus. Let's get back to this movie.
Jesus Christ. So that's all happened. He once again, this is where they take him to the morgue and go, look at what you've done. This girl is dead.
Yeah, I think they're trying to rattle him into confessing.
Look at her. Look upon your wickedness.
And he's like, I don't remember. This is horrible.
How many times do I have to tell you I don't remember?
Yeah, and then the friend ghost shows up. So he looks crazy because he's talking to midair.
Yes.
Like going, whoa, what happened? He's like, man, I got killed, and now I get to haunt you.
Well, and
you
Julie Bowen,
werewolf,
her corpse wakes up, and then this other guy leans out of his thing, goes, hey, man, I got killed too.
Yeah, that's the American from the party, and he did not get killed by Andy, but, werewolves see werewolf victim ghosts, I guess.
Werewolves see werewolf ghosts, man. Am I right or am I right?
All right.
This movie could use some
McConaughey. Be a party of werewolf ghosts over at the Moon Tower.
Speaking of Dazed and Confused, it's the thing I love about these werewolf girls, man.
Oh God, I'd rather watch that.
Man, I would say McConaughey. Once again, you can't save this movie, but McConaughey would have brought a weird energy that'd be like, oh, all right, man, I'm gonna jump off the Alpha Tower.
Well, yes.
Except for McConaughey wouldn't. At this point, McConaughey is in like major stuff. He wouldn't go anywhere near this. He's doing like a Time to Kill or Amistad,
That's right.
Yeah,
his rise was real quick.
It was quick. It was kind of like Dazed and Confused, and instantly out of that movie, everybody was like, "That guy, get that guy. He's amazing."
Well, yeah, and he is.
He is.
Continues.
Dude, I mean, he is one of those guys where it's like all the impressions are right and accurate, but like you see him, and you're like, shit, he is really good.
Yeah,
the guy's really good, man.
Oh, yeah, you give him even weak material, he makes it better. God bless him.
I mean, all those horrible rom-coms are watchable.
Hey, failure to launch. Come on, ladies and gentlemen.
Still live with my parents. Come on, man. It's cool.
Dude, I'd rather go to a party at the Moon Tower, too. Any day of the week.
Absolutely. So, anyway, yeah. So now he's got these corpses following him around. Bowen is really... If you thought she was going for it before, she's really going for it. And once again, I'm sure, because everyone... I feel like the direction from this guy is always more energy. Bigger.
Well, I mean, okay, I know that...
Funnier, probably.
I mean, Griffin Dunne got a lot of laughs.
But Griffin Dunne underplayed everything.
He underplayed everything, and he's still that character who was snarky and funny before he died. He's snarky and funny after.
Well, because it's funny that he's the corpse going, hey,
like
man.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
They're like, be a cartoon. And she starts being a cartoon. For one thing, she's trying to wave like the buses and whatever to run them over, they can't see her. It's stupid ghost logic. She's actually trying to whistle at like, and then the blood shoots out of the hole in her cheek. And
God,
this is so
her
strange.
Eye bulges out and hangs
and then
down.
the eye pops out, and Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's hurry this through. He's a werewolf now.
He's let's see what happens here. What happens? What else? Bad stand-up segment. What else?
Yeah. You're flipping through the notebook.
Yeah. You do get Julie.
This did the joke about Enron.
The other movie that this reminds me of, in particular, right here, when Julie Bowen, as the corpse, tries to punch Tom Everett Scott, and her hand goes whoop through his face.
Yep, he's a ghost.
The other movie this reminds me of, this around the same time, is Idle Hands. Remember that movie? Very similar thing. It's like American Werewolf in London if you just did the corpse stuff.
It's like Hearts and Souls, or
Hearts and Souls.
Or it's like The Frighteners, only The Frighteners is 18 times better.
God, The Frighteners is so good.
But all the, like, let's do jokes about intangibility and ghosts.
Casper? Okay. That's happening around this time, too.
Casper.
I saw Casper in the theater.
I know you did. Child of the 90s. Stop bringing it up.
Child of the 90s.
And you keep talking about your idea for a reboot. I don't want to hear it.
What if he was even friendlier this time?
What if his 3 uncle ghosts were even more despicable?
They do just straight up murder Bill Pullman in that movie, The Uncle Ghost.
That's true.
Yeah. And we're all just kind of let it slide.
Yeah.
So,
look,
yeah.
Don't get involved, John. That's the first rule.
Yeah, so, they're running around. This is where he learns that he can, and this is a new thing created by this movie, you can cure yourself of werewolfery by cutting out and then eating the heart of the werewolf that turned you.
Yeah. This is made up bullshit.
Bullshit.
And this is something they must have laid in after the notes about, oh no, it's too grim to have them die at the end, so now there has to be a cure.
Yeah, the second they introduced this, I'm like, okay, he's going to get cured and everything's going to be okay. That's where this is going, which is really sort of the antithesis of any werewolf story. Usually a werewolf story is some form of tragedy. Either I'm cursed with this forever or death is the only escape. Here the movie's just going like, no, too grim.
Yep, too grim, but if you do this thing and then do this thing, you're good. And he's like, awesome, cool.
Because once again, the end of London is so good, that sobering shot where it's like he's dead. I guess that's best case scenario. Hard cut to credits on the bomba dang dang. You're like, ooh, that's
and you just
haunting.
You see
haunting.
Jenny Agutter just standing there in the alleyway, haunting, and she's just crestfallen.
I mean, I guess that John Landis just might be a good filmmaker. Who knew? Who knew?
Better than what's this guy's name again?
Anthony Waller.
Yeah, well, he can go straight to hell. Anyway,
I can't believe he directed after this. He made more
I can't
movies.
Believe he was allowed to leave the country after.
He's got a movie coming up. It's in post-production.
It's coming up.
Yeah, he's got. He's got Captain Apollo in it. Jamie Bamber. That's cool. Right. I like that guy. Right.
Yeah.
He's in it
he's
too.
okay doing other things.
Well, it seems like he made all the other stuff he made has been like thrillers. Yeah. He's also the producer of The Little Vampire, another monster movie. Oh, okay. Which I had on our list. I had it on our list and then I took it off.
Is that the one with the kid from Jerry Maguire in it?
You got it.
Oh God.
A kid who was cute for one movie.
All right, so ghosts are following him. Julie Bowen's ghost is pissed at him. His friend ghost is trying to give him advice.
But the werewolf cult is now asking him to join. And in order to do this, they've captured his friend and chained him up.
They've chained up the one surviving friend, and he's shirtless again, ladies. And
good thing I put in my time at the gym.
And they're like going, but you have to earn, joining us. So they get literally the size of the Bowie knife this guy has, which is literally a short sword. But he's like going, you're gonna have to kill your friend and eat his heart. And he's like,
what is with the heart
okay.
eating? I understand.
By the way, Andy's just lying. He doesn't really intend to do
the
it.
heart eating is so weird that becomes like a major thing in this movie.
Yeah.
What is that? That is not a werewolf thing. I don't know what the hell that's about.
They're tying it to some cultures, and their tribal thing had that.
Oh,
so
sure.
They're saying, all right,
there's a Criminal Minds about it.
Sure.
There is. That's better than this movie. That 43-minute episode of a CBS procedural is better than this movie.
Yep.
Actually, every episode of that show is better than this movie. And scarier and funnier.
Again, any of those McGruff the Crime Dog
or better
are much more terrifying as
absolutely like this. So before Julie Delpy does come running in here because he refuses to do it and runs away. This friend is not saved. They're going to keep him for basically the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he's going to be hostage for the rest of the movie.
They escape once again through the water system here and back to her basement at her house. And this is where she goes, yes, this is the formula for the werewolf cure. Unfortunately, it had the opposite effect.
Oh, yeah, she explains all the stuff. And wait, the pack hasn't broken in yet, have they?
No.
Okay. But she's explaining, like, yeah, my stepfather was brilliant. It's a shame that I attacked him and turned him into a comatose paraplegic werewolf.
It's a damn shame, man.
It's a damn shame. And here's the formula he had, and it's on a chalkboard, and he never could nail it. And then literally, it is just so stupid. You've got this American
doesn't he have some
college student goes, oh, well, maybe we could fix it.
He does have a thing where he goes, let me take a crack at it, or something dumb like that.
Let me take a crack at it. Yeah, it's okay. Let's see.
Fucking asshole. Like, Jesus Christ.
Fucking asshole. And
well, you haven't had an American look at it yet, so.
There is a cabinet that has all of the doses that he made, the would-be cure, which, as we discovered, unfortunately causes a werewolf to not be cured, but able to turn into a werewolf anytime, not just with the full moon.
Gee, I wonder if the bad guys will get their hands on that.
I don't know. But what I don't understand, Seraphine knows these people. They've been in her house, which means they know her and her stepfather.
Yes.
That means they know about the existence. They know about what she did under that serum. Right. The serum's just been sitting there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been why are they now doing this?
I couldn't answer, man. I haven't the foggiest.
Because it's not Independence Day yet for them to throw their big American party?
That is when we will do it. We will throw on American Independence Day, and then we will eat all the Americans.
We will eat the Americans. But anyway, she explains nonsense about what being a werewolf means. And she explains about, the only way to get out of it is eating the heart.
Terrible. Yeah. So let's see. She explains her research, the drug. All right. So now it's the 4th of July party. No, they break in, as we talked about, and steal it first, right? Then
yes, and when they do, I guess they've upset the medical equipment. So the stepfather, who's been kept alive, is now dead, and Seraphine is very upset. And the serum has been stolen by the other werewolves, and they're like, you know what that means? They are going to turn into werewolves anytime they like, and they want to take over Paris, kill all the I have no fucking idea.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's the thing with this movie. It's like
even the movie. They are taunting her, by the way, because they leave a flyer tacked to the door for the Independence Day party, and so they know exactly where to find the bad guys. They've announced it.
Yep. Oh my God. So Tom Everett Scott sneaks in. The cops show up going, what is going on here?
Yep.
They're running around. It's just so they can have guns, so we can get guns in this scene.
Yes.
Which is wild, because there's a lot of shooting. Weirdly, a lot of shooting in the end of this movie.
Well, here's the thing. I will say, American Werewolf in London, great, but one of the downgrades to werewolf mythology, and that is just anybody can kill a werewolf.
Yeah,
you shoot it enough times, it dies. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of
I mean,
all right. Well,
yeah, but for the purpose of that movie, because it's what it's focusing on, sort of thing where you go like, okay, it does sort of need to end with him just getting
but
shot.
I love seeing people melt down silver.
I do too. It's, I mean,
cutlery
we
to
sort
turn
of
into a silver bullet.
we sort of lack. I mean, you could have done it with the Doctor, I guess. But we sort of lack like hunters who could do that.
Yeah.
It
So
is
in
just
other
kind of the
words,
cops.
yes, at the end, it's another reason why this
I had forgotten
pack,
that though. I had forgotten that briefly when he shoots
the
the
Nazi
first one.
werewolves.
They do have some line about wanting to build a better race, loosely master race shit when you talk about what do they want, but it's
Yeah, they want to get rid of all that they deem genetically inferior.
Right.
And I guess they're starting with Americans.
Tom
Hey, that's a dig.
Hey, Tom Everett Scott, you're like a tall, muscular American. You should be part of it. You're good. We like you.
That's basically it. Now you're a werewolf. You're okay. But
Yeah.
the whole thing is, let's say they weren't werewolves at all.
Yeah.
The way you would do this also is if suddenly a mass killing took place in a club, police would be called, and then there would be a big gunfight, and then the people who started it, the Nazis, skinheads, would be shot dead.
Right.
So it's exactly the same thing. Werewolves don't even matter in this thing.
Yeah, because they're all in their hoods.
Right.
They're all in like
party
monk
is
outfits.
not in the Club de la Lune.
Yeah.
This is in a big cathedral,
Saint Deloup.
Found a name.
Saint Deloup.
Yeah, and they've got like a boombox essentially, just playing like 90s music, and all the Americans are like, booze! Oh, this is great! And then the French werewolves come in wearing monk robes, and the Americans don't care, like, oh, it's part of the show, whatever, haha! And the lead guy, Claude, gets to the microphone, he's like going, we love you, Americans! You have such good taste!
Mm-hmm.
And then the werewolves all shoot up. They all shoot up with the serum, which allows them to transform. And now it's scary because werewolves are attacking.
I do love once they're arresting Tom Everett Scott, and then he's like, "No, they're gonna kill everybody." So Tom Everett Scott just grabs the gun of one of these French cops, which is insane.
Yeah,
and he starts shooting werewolves. They're just blasting away at these werewolves who are trying to bite people. And this scene goes on for 45 minutes. It just feels like
it does. And there's plenty of things similar to like the friend at the first thing who was like, wow, I can't believe you guys are leaving. The party's finally kicking in. They do plenty of scenes where a lot of people don't know anything's wrong yet.
Yeah.
And so it's that stupid thing of like, oh, that guy's acting all crazy. It's like, oh, they're doing some crazy dance. Why is everybody screaming? Oh, no, now there's a severed arm in my hand or whatever. You're like, fuck this.
And his friend is tied up to a cross. He's been crucified.
That's weird. Well, he hasn't literally been crucified, but he
tied
has
up
been
in the crucifixion.
Tied to a cross in the
Which leads to one of the funniest shots in the movie when everybody's running out of this church and he's still got the cross on him.
Yeah, and
and one of the cops crosses himself.
Yes,
didn't you laugh?
Would that have been funny? Maybe, but let's underline it. What's more, they actually do this like slow-mo pan into the cop who then crosses himself.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, why does that need to be slowed and focused on? And then his boss, the lady, is like, what are you doing? Stop the criminals.
No.
And then a werewolf kills him.
Yeah, more werewolves come in here. Then we get a chase into the catacombs underneath the place here. But Julie Delpy is there, and she goes, the only way I can save everybody is if I inject myself now.
Yeah, I will have to sacrifice myself. I know I'll be taken down, but these idiot cops will not be able to defeat the werewolves. So,
what I love is this movie doesn't even... It lets her fight one of the werewolves to save Tom Everett Scott, and then Tom Everett Scott, though, ends up killing the thing by shooting it after she just sort of knocks it. She doesn't even get a kill in.
No, that's true.
Which is lame.
Yep.
These are like action shelf rules, by the way, where women can't kill any bad guys. They can only... and so then but then it wears off quickly because she pretty quickly turns back into Julie Delpy. And this is when she's like, please, it hurts so much to be a werewolf. Kill me, cut out my heart and
finish it.
Yeah, cut out my heart and eat it because I turned you. Now, she's not aware that she isn't the one who turned him. She just thinks she did.
Yeah, it does seem clear in these movies that you don't remember what you did as a werewolf.
Yeah, so she's like, it must have been me. she's never opened up to the theory that maybe it was not her, because of course it won't be, and we'll have to prove that later. Ugh.
When they do reveal that by having him flash on, what is it, the scar on Claude,
because he had stabbed him with like a piece of wrought iron fence when he was attacking him earlier, so he still has the scar in the shape of that.
Yeah, but I was confused when it got to that. I mean, I was like, okay, it's not going to be her. That's great. And I saw how that would play out. But I was sitting there going, I just thought he remembered the scar from the werewolf.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been even weirder. And would have made just as much sense as anything in this movie.
But it doesn't matter. So essentially, he says he's not going to kill her. And he's going to he's going to turn into a werewolf to fight Claude.
Yes, he is on a train, because this all explodes out onto a subway train.
Now we're on the metro. Yeah. Riding on the metro. And the metro pilot driver is our film director.
Yeah, and he gets killed. Apparently this guy's in all the movies he directed, according to his IMDb.
And I think that's Tom Everett Scott's werewolf that leaps through the front and kills him? Or is Tom Everett Scott on the train and
Yes, because Tom Everett Scott turns into a wolf on the train itself.
Oh, okay.
Because you get the shot where he's running, and they do a shot where he's running in slow motion as he changes into CG.
And it's awful. It's
awful.
And he has darker fur because of his darker hair, which is the only way to describe.
I will say I did have trouble following which werewolf was which for the most part.
I've often knocked The Incredible Hulk as having the worst effects of any of the MCU movies, even though I think it's a very good Hulk movie with terrible effects.
Agreed.
But this reminded me a little bit of that, even though it's a decade later or more.
Yeah, and even having the worst those are better than this, though, and they're still the worst.
Yeah, but it's a similar thing where you have two rubbery, completely non-convincing CG creatures biting and scratching at each other, and they just don't look like they're there.
There's
exactly a scene where Claude's werewolf stands up on his two legs on the train, and I was looking at the shadow, and they put no time into it. I swear to God, it looks like they took a smudge tool from Photoshop and kind of used their thumb thing and just went, there's a little dark spot there.
I think they did. I'm sure they did.
God damn it, it's ugly. So this is the climactic battle, though. This is,
I guess, thrilling. And then it ends up with him killing him and eating his heart.
Yes, Tom Everett Scott's werewolf is at least cognizant enough of what his mission is. To not only does he kill the other werewolf, you then see him like dive his head towards his chest and then pull it back and blood splatters.
And he says like, num num num.
I'm chewing on the heart.
Yeah. It says num num num, which I thought was weird.
He literally says num num num, which again, that's the sense of humor this movie has.
Num num num. And so I guess that means he's cured now.
Yep.
Great. And so
and also she's cured.
I guess, yeah, because that was the same thing. So any of this matters? Nope. Okay. Well, then I guess we got to cut to our scene later, right?
Yeah, the epilogue.
The epilogue. Was it say many full moons later?
Yes.
And we cut to them in a tuxedo and her in a wedding dress. Tom Everett Scott's in a tuxedo. Julie Delpy in a wedding dress. They're trying to do something
clever here because the friend who did survive is the best man, and he's saying like, "Are you sure you're ready for this? Are you sure you want to do this?" Which is like what a best man would say before a wedding. Like,
think about it, bro. One woman, the rest of your life.
But it turns out he's actually saying, "Are you sure you want to bungee jump off the fucking
Statue of
Empire
Liberty
State Building?"
No, it's the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, Statue of Liberty,
which is
that's
even
right.
stupider.
Yeah, and when they do that, you also see the Twin Towers there.
Yeah. That's always like a oof, obviously. Yeah. Whenever you go back to anything. But yes, it is that. Well, he drops the ring and it rolls off, and Tom Everett Scott dives after it on his bungee cord. And
she dives with him,
and then he mid bungee puts the ring on her finger. My God, this is in a movie. Somebody thought this was okay to put in a movie.
All that glitters is gold.
Yeah.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Yeah, they haven't written that song yet, but yeah, that would fit here.
Sure. Why
I think this is where Limp Bizkit comes up, is in the end credits here.
Probably.
Yeah. And so that's the end of the movie. There's an alternate ending though. Do you know about this?
Oh, no.
There is an alternate, more horror-y ending, where it cuts to...
did she give birth to a werewolf baby?
You better believe she does!
Oh, I totally...
That's exactly it!
Oh my god.
Nailed it.
I pulled that out of
first try.
Air.
In an alternate ending, Seraphine has a vision of her father back in the back of the ambulance, explaining how he found a cure before his death. The closing scene shows Andy and Chris visiting Seraphine at a hospital where she has given birth to a child whose eyes shift to look like the wolves.
God.
Yep. That would have been sequel. Yeah, there's your American Werewolf in Istanbul.
Quick question.
Not Constantinople.
Would you recommend this film?
Never in a million years. In fact, I would say whatever you have to do to actively make a point of not watching it.
Didn't they enter this in the National Film Directory?
Yeah, fingers crossed that plays out. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
This is just, and again, we like at least 3 of these actors.
Yes, all the other ones I have no concept of almost, and nor should I. By the way, one of the songs I see the soundtrack listings here on Wikipedia. There's a song in this movie that's called "Lover Beast in Paris" by a band called Smooth Diamonds. Jesus Christ. Let's get this as far. By the way, that
was on heavy rotation on FM radio back in the day. That was
Smooth
such a banger.
Diamonds, Lover. It's requested for the 10th time today. It's Lover Beast in Paris by Smooth Diamonds.
Smooth Diamonds.
Top of the charts once again. Smooth Diamonds. Can their ascent ever be stopped? They Jesus Christ. So yeah, get this out of here. By the way, this is a nearly 3-hour episode. I've noticed that the worse the movie, the longer our episodes are, I find.
Yeah.
Some of it is tangents. Some of it is tangents. Some of it is because with good movies we can often just skip through and go, these are the good parts or whatever, and all the connective tissues work. But I feel like the worse the movie is, the more I have to talk about, no, each scene is terrible and we have to explain why. And this is that case. So thanks for sticking with us for almost twice the length of the movie.
It is a sacrilege.
Yeah.
Go watch the original.
Yep.
And go watch That Thing You Do.
That Thing You Do.
Go watch literally any other Julie Delpy film.
Yeah, That Thing You Do, by the way, is just what a gem. What a delight.
That movie makes me happy.
That is one of my go-to like feel-good movies.
And it is also one of the great fake song soundtracks.
Those songs
where you go, these songs actually,
I had that soundtrack because that's great.
They nailed the period so well.
And Tom Hanks wrote most of them, or at least the lyrics.
Yeah,
which is great, man. That Thing You
Mr.
Do,
Downtown,
Mr. Downtown, Mr. Downtown is so good. All the Wonder songs are I do. Oh man, I want to get it. I saw on Etsy they do have the One Night Only, the Oneaters, and it's at the whatever out by the airport.
That's great.
And I'm like, oh, I want that because I do love the Oneaters.
The Oneaters,
ladies and gentlemen, the Oneaters.
No, it's one like the number one.
Like number one. And I love
Wonders.
When Tom Hanks comes in and the first thing he does, he goes, "You've got to stop that. That's got to go right away. First thing, you can't."
All right, but that's a good movie. What's coming up next week?
Next week's movie I've never seen, but I worry about because it's a horror comedy, and we know how those go. And that's a little film called Modern Vampires.
Oh, Modern Vampires.
I have Casper Van Dien. Talk about good actors. I mean, Casper Van Dien is not, but there are a lot of good actors in it. Casper Van Dien, Natasha Gregson Wagner. I can kind of take or leave them, although I've liked each of them in some things.
Sure.
But
she's in Lost Highway.
She's in Lost Highway, which is great, and I do have the Criterion 4K of that.
Nice.
Yeah, I have. They put out Inland Empire, and I went, oh, completist. No, I'll never watch Inland Empire.
Yeah,
again.
no,
that's. Yeah. But I have all the other criterions of the Lynch movies. You got them, but look at this supporting cast: Rod Steiger, Kim Cattrall, Natasha Lyonne, Craig Ferguson, and our buddy Udo Kier.
It just keeps punching.
That's a good cast.
But the fact that I can barely recall anything about it is not a good sign.
No, I'm worried about it too, because I know, once again, it's funny, and that's often trouble for these. Rod Steiger is Van Helsing, though. I'm curious.
Oh, well,
Rod Steiger.
We'll have to see it.
We'll have to see it. It's next week.
Withhold judgment.
Taste the evil, taste the fun is the tagline there. So, yeah.
I think wasn't that a Skittles campaign?
Taste the evil, taste the fun. That's new Dark Skittles.
All right. Let's wrap it up
and say until next week. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Brendan Jones.
And remember, there are such things as monsters.
Insert bad 90s song here.
Do 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 do.